All right, all right, all right. What is going on, everybody? How's it going? Back again, doing the streaming thing. Welcome to Vertigo Veritas TV. Um, yeah, we got lots of news stuff to talk about today. Lots of politics and different stuff that is going on in the world. So we're going to be paying attention to that quite a bit today. Let's see here. I'm going to take this down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so we will be doing lots of that today. See if I can get my mic. There we go. There we go. Check, 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 check. Yeah. Anyways, so we've got lots of different stuff to talk about today that we're going to be working on. Lots of different things going on in the news. Lots of people doing dumb shit that I want to talk about. You know, stuff like that. The important things in life. We're going to try to get to some video games a little bit later too. We may do that. I'm not sure. I will leave it up to the time constraints that we do have. And I do know that we have lots to cover today. From Democrats actually on the local level doing something about redistricting and making sure that people can vote. And also going to be talking about Jordan Peterson because he's a giant douche and he went on fucking Joe Rogan and made a bunch of stupid ass claims about stuff that he shouldn't have and just made himself look like a fool. And so let's talk about the clown Jordan Peterson again, and also Joe Rogan, who is also a clown these days. We're going to watch some cringe shit with Steven Crowder about the KKK, so that should be fun. We're also going to be talking quite a bit about gamer girls and the shit they go through just because they want to, game and play games, and guys just are fucking being toxic towards them and making it so that they feel that they can't play without having some sort of sexist comment made towards them. You have to have a thick skin as a gamer girl, so I think that's important. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about some chip shortages that are going on, which is really, really kind of scary because our whole world works on computers. And so we have to make sure that we're able to get something done about that. Hopefully we can build some infrastructure here to build some computer chips and things. Hey, what's up, Derpchat? Good to see you, man. Let's see, what else were we going to talk about today? We were going to talk about the how evangelicals are making people be less Christian in the country. Don't get me started on chip shortages. Yeah, I know. We're going to talk about it, so get ready for that. No, but there's a backlash against the backlash against right-wing evangelicals is reshaping American public politics and faith. Apparently, because evangelicals are so fucking awful and so judgmental and so right-wing, they're scaring people off from Christianity as a whole. So that's interesting. And then we're going to talk about how the Senate sucks and kind of discuss whether we need it at all, what it kind of why it's there, like what it does or doesn't do. I think that's a good conversation. And then I don't know if you guys heard about this anti-work debate or this anti-work drama that went on. Apparently there's a subreddit called Antiwork, which, I mean, okay, we all got to work, whether we believe in capitalism, socialism, whatever. Work is a good thing. Work keeps the world moving. But there's a difference between work and labor, and there's some semantical issues there. Anyways, one of the subreddit moderators went on to Fox News, and hijinks ensued. So we're going to talk about that too. But yeah, and then maybe we'll get to some video games. So we'll see what we have time for, because I do have my kid this week. But well, why don't we just go ahead and drop that intro for now? All right. Well, how's everybody doing? Happy Friday. It's been a crazy week for me. I got my hair more blue though, if you can see. Went got my hair did. So that made me feel better. I was having some oh, thank you. Thank you. I was having some issues this week with depression, and just, the general, this time of year kind of just screws with you a little bit, and that, and I lost a close friend recently, and one of my best friends just moved to St. Louis. So it's been rough. It's been a rough week. It's been an emotional week. So, but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to talk about some stuff, because oh boy, I've been keeping track of the news and some of the stuff going on, and it's just crazy. Craziness is going on. So just recently, I guess we'll start that again, because I've got to give room for me to edit this stuff. Just recently, I did a video on Russia and the Ukraine and the issues going on there, and how it's getting really, really scary and stuff. And it's crazy seeing the dynamic here in the States as to how split our politics are, and how the Republicans and Democrats are taking sides, and in the whole debate about whether we should, be helping the Ukraine or not. And of course, I think that if they're going to be invaded, yeah, we should probably help them a little bit. How much is a bit of a question, like what's going to just help them, or what's going to harm the whole world by causing another world war, so on and so forth. But there's some people that are being really crazy about it. And one of those people is Tucker fucking Carlson. Once again, this guy, I don't know, man. He's I don't know. I never know what's going to come out of his mouth, and usually it's crazy. That's for sure. So recently, because of some things that he has said on his program, he's had his followers, his viewers, calling senators, saying that we should back Russia in the whole situation. Yes, he is great at rallying the crazy, Derpshot. Very crazy at rallying the crazy. So let's take a look at this article here. Tucker Carlson viewers calling me to say U.S. should back Russia, Democrat says. New Jersey congressman says viewers are calling to express distress that Biden's not siding with Russia in Ukraine crisis. Whew. God, this is going to make me want to punch myself in the face just reading through this, guys. Oh, man. Okay, let's get it. A congressman from New Jersey has disclosed that he is receiving calls from viewers of Tucker Carlson's primetime Fox News show, expressing distress at the Biden administration's backing of Ukraine in the tense military standoff with Russia. Democratic Representative Tom Malinowski said in a tweet his office was fielding calls from Carlson viewers upset that we're not siding with Russia in its threats to invade Ukraine. Okay, this is how fucked up and twisted Americans' heads have been because of right-wing media, because of the division in this country, because of everything that's going on, because of the lies, the misinformation, so on and so forth. It comes to this kind of stuff. It makes crazy happen. It makes... So, could you imagine if there was a political pundit in the 80s that was simping for Russia like this? Or had his followers simping for Russia like this? I mean, I don't get it. Okay, so Russia's not like the, evil as a whole. Like, there are a lot of good people in Russia. The government right now, though, is trying to be fashy as fuck. They're trying to annex countries left and right. They did it with Georgia, they did it with Crimea, and now they're trying to do it with the Ukraine. And the Ukraine asked NATO for help. And so NATO is helping. Because if they don't, then the Ukraine will be no more. It'll just be the ass end of Russia. So, anyways, the callers, he said, want me to support Russia's reasonable positions. News of the effect of Carlson's broadcast doubting support for Ukraine came as the Pentagon placed 8,500 troops on high alert ready to deploy to Europe, amid fears that a Russian invasion could be imminent. NATO allies have been struggling to project unity in opposition to the Russian President Vladimir Putin's belligerent amassing of more than 100,000 troops on the Ukraine border. Carlson, the top-rated host on Rupert Murdoch's right-wing news channel, has been using his nightly bully pulpit to question the merits of Washington's backing through NATO of Ukraine in the face of Putin's expansionist threat. On Monday night, his show screened an image of the White House with the words "war machine" stamped over it. Oh my God, the propaganda. Can you... Jesus Christ. War machine. Yeah, okay, so Joe Biden's not doing a lot. He's not fucking doing much to help the American people. However, one thing that I can say about him is that he has significantly reduced drone warfare in other countries, which significantly reduces the amount of collateral damage, namely innocent bystanders, innocent citizens. All right, so he's done that. He pulled out of Afghanistan. And then they got pissed off at him for that. They ripped into him for getting out of Afghanistan. And then he agrees to send some, what they're calling, was it lethal aid to the Ukraine, which I think is also a propaganda term. Why don't you just say guns? Just say weapons. You're going to send him weapons. You're going to send him defensive weapons. It's okay. It's okay. We know what's going on. All right. So, but the thing is that Biden, up until this point, has been avoiding those conflicts overseas. He's been, lessening the drone strikes to a point where they're lower than they have been since 2004, when drones were first started being used. And he pulled out of Afghanistan, but now he's a war hawk because he sent some aid to the Ukraine so that they didn't get annihilated by Russia. Yeah, sounds like it's a war machine in there. Yeah. So that I completely disavow the framing of whatsoever. I think Joe Biden's too lazy or too, I don't know, maybe senile to even think about starting a war. However, it is possible that they could use this to their political advantage and start a conflict so that they can stay in power. It's been done before, and I'm not saying that the Democrats are above it or that Joe Biden's above it, but up until this point, he hasn't shown that he's that he's making the White House a war machine. So the host accused neocons in the Biden administration of betraying our country's interests and said a massive lobbying campaign by Ukrainian politicians and American defense contractors was behind the strategy. Always a fucking conspiracy with this guy. Ukraine was strategically irrelevant to the U.S., Carlson said. In his analysis of the crisis, Carlson made no mention of Putin or his ambition. See, that's the thing about that Republicans, man. They don't give a shit about humanitarian efforts. They don't care. Like, is what's there for us? Is there oil there? Is there something there that we can take for our benefit? Is that something we can do? Because, you know, and nobody said anything uh when Bush had his little revenge war in Iraq as well. You didn't see anybody saying anything about that. But all of a sudden, the White House is a war machine, and there's no reason to help the Ukrainian people because we're not getting anything out of it, which is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. We can help a country so that they don't get annexed or annihilated, overcome by another larger, more fascistic nation. All right, that's something I'm okay with helping with. I'm not okay with invading a country just so we can get their oil, or invading a country just because they're doing politics we don't like, or they've got a left-leaning socialist progressive president that they just put into office, and then we do a regime change war so that it's more capitalist. We do stuff like that all the time. It's really bullshit. We shouldn't be doing stuff like that. But helping a friend and helping somebody be safe from a fascistic imperialist force, that seems okay with me in a matter of speaking. Derpshot says Russia's access to the Black Sea is being threatened. Is the TLDR of what I understand about it. We have no business getting involved at all, unless there's lithium in mines in Ukraine. Now, see, see what I mean? No, here's the thing, though, man. Like, if there's a country, whenever somebody, yeah, I know it's tongue in cheek. Whenever we see an imperialistic power like this in the country that's slowly, like, engrossing themselves in war to dissolve other countries and annex them into their own. When we see a country, we don't do that in the 21st century. It's not something that the world does anymore. And when people do it, especially to a large scale, like Ukraine's not a small country, and then that's going to be on the running up against Poland, and then what do they do? And then Poland's part of NATO. So what do we do if Poland starts getting trouble from Russia? It's not as cut and dry as, oh, we shouldn't be involved at all, because that's what we said for a long time during World War II. We said that for a long time during World War II. We didn't get our asses in there and actually take care of business until the end of the war. And we should have been in there way earlier because our allies were suffering. They're just like throwing everything they can at them, like pots and pans and whatever the fuck they have, right? And we wouldn't have done it. You're right. We wouldn't have done anything during World War II unless if we didn't get attacked by Japan, right? We wouldn't have gotten involved even then, and there would have been more and more people that were killed. And the whole thing was awful. I mean, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, not cool. But, there were a lot of other things, a lot of other factors. I mean, they were trying to commit a genocide with the Jews, the Jewish population there. So it's like, come on, we could have done more. And we're not even sending troops over there right now. We're not sending troops to the Ukraine. We're simply sending weapons to them and aiding NATO, which we're part of, and making sure that they're able to defend themselves. That's it. So, and anybody who thinks that like Russia is the good guy in this situation is just sadly mistaken, because Putin has no scruples, and he has no objectives other than amassing as much power under him as humanly possible. The man's, he's a fascist. He's a totalitarianist. That's what he wants. Yeah, like there hasn't been a free and fair election in Russia for years because of that man. So that's a good sign that there's some fascistic stuff going on there. Um, we'll go through this a little bit more. Let's see here. News of the effect of Carlson's broadcast doubting support for Ukraine came as the Pentagon has placed 85,000 troops on high alert, ready to deploy to Europe amid fears of Russian invasion could be imminent. NATO allies have been struggling to project unity in opposition to the Russian President Vladimir Putin's belligerent amassing of more than 100,000 troops on the Ukraine border. I think I read that already, but oh well. Carlson, the top-rated host on Rupert Murdoch. I read that too. God damn it, where am I at? We're gonna start over here. There we go. The host accused neocons in the Biden administration betraying our country's interest and said a massive lobbying campaign by Ukrainian politicians and American defense contractors was behind the strategy. Ukraine was strategically irrelevant to the U.S., Carlson said. In his analysis of the crisis, Carlson made no mention of Putin or his ambition to push back NATO from Eastern and Central Europe, nor of Ukraine's standing as a sovereign nation, which achieved independence 30 years ago. Ukraine is a bigger country in landmass than France, with a similar population to Spain, now facing an unprovoked invasion from a neighboring power. So that's what I'm talking about there. Is they need our help. And they asked NATO for it. We're part of NATO. We help our allies, right? Carlson has used his show to express contentious views on Europe before. For a week in August, he relocated Tucker Carlson Tonight to Budapest, from where he broadcast glowing reports on the authoritarian leadership of Viktor Orban. Oh yeah, I remember that. This week, he indicated that he plans to return to Hungary soon for more broadcasting praising the government's tough stance on immigration. Yeah, he likes fascist countries. He likes dictators. He thinks they're A-okay, right? And millions of Americans love this guy and think they're patriots for watching him. Jesus Christ. Speaking to The Hill, Malinowski said, "People get their opinions by watching the news. That's nothing new. What is new is we have at least one talk show host with a huge captive audience that is not exposed to any counter-programming elsewhere. I find that very concerning." And it's very true. So, what do we learn, kids? Tucker Carlson's a fascist. He likes dictators. And he's trying to get his viewers a simp for Russia. We also learn that the Ukraine's a sovereign country who's had their independence for 30 years. They deserve to keep it. And they asked NATO for help. We're part of NATO. We're offering our help. No troops yet. And I say yet because I don't know if Biden's going to do that or not, but he shouldn't. I think that could lead to an exacerbation of the situation, but we might not have a choice. It just kind of depends on where this road goes down, and it's not looking good, to be honest. So, and then we've got people in our own country that are going to be very upset because Carlson told them to be upset. And so that might exacerbate problems here as well. It's just a never-ending cycle of bullshit. And I just, man, I hope we don't get blown up in a nuclear attack. That's all I'm saying. So, all right. Let's switch back here. What else are we going to talk about? We got lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. Oh, man. Thought I had COVID the other day for a little bit. Turns out I just left my window open and woke up and my throat was so dry. So I'm trying to make sure I don't lose my voice or anything like that. So drinking fluids, trying to be good to myself and trying to be better to myself because I've been really not in the best place. So getting there though, pulling myself out of a funk, you know. But I have reason to be in a funk. It's not like it's just me being depressed, clinically, which I am too. But I take pills for that. It's just like there's a lot of people leaving my life and stuff like that. But there is a lot of good things to look forward towards the future. For instance, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but there's a big time streamer by the name of Counterpoints. Well, bigger than me. He's not like Hassan Abi big or Hassan Piker big or whatever, or what's somebody on the right, Ben Shapiro big or anything like that. But he's got a quite a big following, and he's appeared on several debate panel shows, including the Hippy Dippy Roundtable, and I believe he's been on Modern Day Debates too. Anyways, really really good guy. We don't see eye to eye on everything, which is why I'm going on a show. We're going to be discussing some things that we might agree on, we might not. But I will be going on his show on the 11th of February. So you will be seeing me talking to Counterpoints on the 11th of February. Pretty excited about it. I've seen him debate on Dylan Burns' Hippy Dippy, and I've seen him have an extended conversation with Bosch, and I've seen him on several other things as well. So I'm excited to talk to him, and it's a good opportunity for me to kind of spread my wings and get my name out there a little bit more as far as this stuff's concerned. Also, check out the Prime Kai's video I put up, guys, because I did do a Prime Kai's video debate panel, and I've got a video up from that where we were talking about the phrase ACAB and if it's effective messaging or not. And I think you'll be surprised. It was a really good conversation, and then we got into some personal stuff, and I talked about some time that I was in jail and stuff when I was younger. So that's an interesting thing. I'm kind of too much of an open book sometimes to be online. But I'm protecting myself. This isn't my real name, by the way. I try to protect myself from everybody knowing my exact identity. Anyways, I just want to let you guys know about that. So be watching out for that. I'll be streaming it. He'll be streaming it. It'll be a good time. Anyways, let's see here. We've got to talk about voting rights and redistricting and the attempt by the Republican Party in several states to try to diminish the Democrat vote and to diminish the vote of people of color and diminish the voting rights in general for poor people. They're basically what they're doing is they're doing what we call redistricting, where they're trying to split the maps in a different way so that it will give them an advantage in the 2022 election. Right. And because we have people like Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin in the Senate and Joe Biden who won't fight for anything, he fights just about as well as a fucking wet paper towel. So we've kind of lost the ability to lose the filibuster, put through voting rights on a federal level. Because of that, there's been a big push by Republicans to state by state screw over the majority of voters by splitting their districts so that they get less electoral votes, less votes for every one of their districts locally as well. So they're trying to do this, but it's proving a little bit difficult, and it's proving that Democrats, at least on the local level, have a little bit of fight in them, and they're stopping many of these redistricting efforts from seeing the light of day. So let's take a look here at this article here. Democrats make surprising inroads in redistricting fight. While Republicans say they've achieved their goals so far, they're surprised at how much Democrats have tried to expand the number of seats their party can win. All right, so New York. Democrats braced for disaster when state legislatures began redrawing congressional maps, fearing that Republican dominance of state houses would tilt power away from them for the next decade, which it could do very easily. Stop elections from being more fair in those places for that long. But as the redistricting process reaches its final stages, they only have so much time to do this. That anxiety is beginning to ease. For Democrats, the worst case scenario of losing well over a dozen seats in the U.S. House appears unlikely to happen. After some aggressive map drawing of their own in states with Democratic legislators, some Democrats predict the typical congressional district will shift from leaning to the right of the national vote to matching it, ending a distortion that gave the GOP a built-in advantage over the past 5 House elections. Yeah, so they do this all the time, and this isn't something new. There's constantly doing it. Now the Democrats are finally kind of taking a play out of this book here and deciding, well, fuck, if they're going to do it in the states where they have, the red states where they have the say, we're going to do this in the blue states where we have the say. Hopefully it'll even things out, and it's looking like they're getting to the point where it actually will even out. We have stymied their intent to gerrymander their way to a House majority, Kelly Ward Burton, head of the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, said of the GOP. The nation's congressional maps won't be settled for several more months. Republicans in some large states like Florida have yet to finalize proposed changes, giving the GOP a last-minute opportunity to seek an advantage. Yeah, and they're going to take every advantage they can get. Oh, let's see here. Let's take a look at this video.
I'm looking for information and people.
Of course there's an ad. Fuck that video. Let's see here. So, what you're seeing is a little bit of pushback from Democrats so that, things will even out. It's good. It's good because I think that if we're going to get stuck in this two-party system and we're going to and the Republicans are going to fight with all the dirty tricks they can possibly fight with, then we need to do the same on the left. I mean, and that's why I'm saying I wish Biden would fight more for the things that he said was in his agenda. And now they're saying things like, oh, we shouldn't have listened to the progressives as much. It's not the progressives' fucking fault. It's that you don't have the balls to put through things that you say you're going to put through, right? These were very, very, very popular provisions, the Build Back Better plan and voting rights, both very, very, very popular with the American people, like overwhelmingly so, even with Republicans, that aren't in Congress or in a position of power. If you break these things up, the voting rights bill, not only the voting rights bill, but also the Build Back Better plan, even Republicans want all of those provisions by a majority. It's crazy, and yet they're being blocked everywhere, especially by Republicans, but also by 2 Democrats in particular. And instead of fighting back against those 2 Democrats, Biden just sticks his tail between his legs, and it's really sad. It was really, really shitty that we're having no fight, no bite, no impact from the Democratic Party, even though we are currently the majority in the House and the Senate. So it's really ridiculous, and it pisses me off. We need more progressives in Congress and in the Senate to actually do some fighting Let's see here. Continuing on, but the picture could come into greater clarity this week when New York's Redistricting Commission submits to the state legislature a second attempt to draw a map. If the Democratic-controlled legislature rejects the map, it can take over drawing new lines in Democrats' favor. That would almost certainly blunt the GOP advantage that has been in place since the last redistricting process in 2010. The jockeying in the state capitals has implications for not just for Democrats' uphill effort to maintain a majority in the U.S. House in this year's midterm elections. It will also affect the broader balance of power in Washington and the state legislatures for the remainder of the decade. It's a whole decade that we have to wait to do any of this business again. So yeah, it's not something that's a small issue. We want to stop this from happening. We want to make things as fair as possible. While Republicans say they've achieved their goals so far, they're surprised at how much Democrats have tried to expand the number of seats their party can win. The GOP has taken a markedly different approach by aiming to shore up its vulnerable members' districts, transforming competitive seats into safe ones. That's in part because Republicans already expanded the map with aggressive redistricting after the 2010 census when they controlled more states. Now, as the lines are adjusted to meet last year's census figures, they are locking in their guns while Democrats are taking risks to fight back. See, yeah, they get this information and they're just trying to use it so that they can, split things up in their favor. That's a lot of why the census things is as important as it is to Republicans and Democrats alike. Let's see here. In a wave election, Democrats could lose even more seats in the maps they have drawn because they spread their voters so thin, analysts say. And if political coalitions shift in upcoming years, seats Democrats thought were within reach could suddenly disappear. This is a very dangerous game, especially with the volatility of the amount of voters in general. Like, the amount of voters has been fluctuating so much from year to year that we're seeing it's harder and harder to predict things and predict the outcomes of elections. Let's see here. Republicans have given themselves pretty good tsunami protection, said Michael Lee of the Brennan Center for Justice, which tracks redistricting. But for Democrats, if it rains a little, their house is flooded. See, this is where it gets dangerous, guys. The Democratic push comes as the party has unsuccessfully fought to ban partisan gerrymandering nationwide in the voting rights bill. Their elections bill, barring the practice, died in the Senate last week during a Republican filibuster. Lee said Democrats, however, are still gerrymandering in states they control, sometimes aggressively as in Illinois, other times relatively lightly as in New Mexico and Oregon. In contrast, experts say Republicans who control more states have gerrymandered heavily in places like Texas, North Carolina, and Ohio. Ohio is a big one. There's a lot of crazy shit happening in Ohio right now. But good news, Nina Turner is running for Congress in Ohio again. God, please let her win this time. That woman needs to be in Congress. But the GOP's Ohio maps were tossed out by the state Supreme Court this month, and Democrats are hopeful North Carolina's court follows suit with the districts there, part of the reason for the party's increased optimism. Yeah, so they got thrown out there, so it's looking like the fight's a little bit easier in those places. So the next biggest opportunity for Democrats is in New York, which they will test how much power Democrats are willing to give up to fight gerrymandering. Saying they wanted to take partisanship out of the redistricting, Democrats there in 2014 backed a ballot measure to put the process in the hands of a bipartisan commission. But the state legislature can overrule that commission. In 2014, it was divided between Democratic and Republican control. Now Democrats have a supermajority in both houses. And you're going to continue to see this trend. There's definitely an upwards trend towards more progressive values in this country. I mean, of course, there's a backlash that's pushing from a very, very loud minority that's pushing back against that. But if you look at the numbers, I mean, progressive values tend to be the highest polling policy wise, and that's why I believe that more progressives should be running and should be even primarying Democrats, corporate Democrats. They should be primarying corporate Democrats, and they should be running against corporate Republicans in areas where there's a lot of worker culture, like where there's unions and things like that, and where there may be people who are against the deep state or whatever bullshit's been put in their heads. So definitely, this is something that's going to be an ongoing fight. It's something that we need to watch closely and make sure that there's no funny business going on either side, and that there needs to be, an easy way for people to vote, and it needs to be fair. The lines need to be split fairly. They can't split right through the middle of Democratic districts just so they can split the votes so that they can get more votes for Republicans. It shouldn't work like that. It's not fair. In my opinion, I think that majority should rule. Like, I think that we should get rid of electoral voting, and that the majority of the people in any district, or when it comes to state and senate, should be the whole city or the whole area that senator or congressperson is under. Like, anytime you break up districts and you do electoral voting, it's can be unfair. It can be really unfair. It can make sure that the majority of people and what they're voting for doesn't get put through. So this is definitely something that we need to pay attention to a little bit more. We've only got a little bit of time left before this is all over with as far as the redistricting, and then I believe we've got the election coming here at the end of the year for the midterms, and I do encourage you all to be involved and vote as well. It's something that we need to do, whether you're on the Democrats or Republican side. I don't give a shit. Get involved in politics. Get involved in grassroots activism as well. We need it on both sides. Anyways, let's see here. Damn it. Hit the wrong button. I gotta get better at that. I do that on occasion. So, we are, let's see here. I just want to check and see some things here. There we go. We are moving right along, guys. Getting some stuff done. Getting some stuff talked about. All right. Enough articles. I'm sick of reading right now. We're gonna watch some stupid shit right now. We're gonna watch some oh god. Some stuff from my favorite pseudo-intellectual, Jordan Peterson. Okay. This guy's a retard. Let's see here. Looking for the videos. Here we go. Oh, I wanted to look up something else real quick. There we go. So, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background on this, Jordan Peterson, who is a psychologist from, I believe Toronto is where he's from. He recently resigned his tenure professorship at the college he was working at because of diversity plans. He didn't like that there were more black people being accepted to the school. He didn't like that people of color were being accepted to the school. And said it was going to take away possible job opportunities and career opportunities for the white students who were more well off and smarter. And I'm paraphrasing here, but if you read the letter of resignation that he sent, it basically it says that. So he's a douche. He's a major douche, and he likes word salad. He likes to just talk and hear himself talk and say stuff that doesn't really mean anything. He's an advocate for an all-meat diet, which is just disgusting. And he was more coherent. I think, in my opinion, he was more coherent when he was taking barbiturates on a regular basis. Anyways, Jordan Peterson is... a lot of people think he's a great self-help person, but I think he does more damage than he does good. Hands down. And in this segment, he's teaming up with Joe Rogan, who's also doing a lot of damage himself. And they had quite the conversation on Joe Rogan's podcast just recently, which is on Spotify, which is losing people like Neil Young because they don't want to be on the same platform as somebody who's spreading COVID misinformation. But anyways, we're going to take a look at a couple of the more crazy pants videos, clips that were from the Joe Rogan Experience with him and Jordan Peterson. Now, something that you'll notice right away is that Jordan Peterson wore a tux for some reason to the Joe Rogan show. So I believe this is the one that most people are up in arms about the most. This is the one on climate change. And I heard his language on this. He says absolutely nothing. He talks a lot, but says absolutely nothing through this whole segment. And you'll see what I mean here in just a second.
That's because there's no such thing as climate, right? Climate and everything are the same word. And that's what bothers me about...
Climate and everything are the same word. No, they're fucking not. No, they're not. If you're talking about climate in general, like the climate of a political climate, the word climate can be used for several different subjects, but we're talking about the Earth's climate here. It's not everything. All right? If I eat a sandwich, right, it's not going to affect the climate. If I run an oil company, that's going to affect the fucking climate. If I'm, reading a comic book while, in my underwear on a Sunday afternoon, that's not going to affect climate. What's going to affect climate is all of the CO2 we're pumping into the atmosphere. This guy says nothing. I'm telling you, this whole video.
The climate change types. It's like, this is something that bothers me about it, technically.
The climate change types. Are you talking about like 80% of the fucking population of the world? Jesus Christ. It depends on the sandwich, really. I guess if it's like a bunch of beef, that could maybe a minuscule amount like affect the climate because of the methane, the cows. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. I don't know. But
it's like, well, climate is about everything. So, okay. But your models aren't based on everything. Your models are based on a set number of variables.
Yeah, a set number of variables like, the amount of CO2, a cow sandwich. Oh, like the amount of CO2 that's pumped in the atmosphere. Where does the CO2 comes from? Then we do experiments and we find out that a large amount of the CO2 and greenhouse gases that are being pumped into the atmosphere are being pumped into the atmosphere by human beings and the industrialization of the world. We can see this on graphs and charts, and they can tell by the amount of particulates, and there's science behind this, guys. This isn't something that just like some guys saying, standing on a milk crate, basically saying, oh yeah, and cattle is a big one for sure. But there's not, it's not just one guy standing on a milk crate screaming about the end of the world because, of greenhouse gases. It's fucking scientists. It's a consensus.
Yeah. So that means you've reduced the variables, which are everything, to that set. Well, how did you decide which set of variables to include in the equation if it's about everything? And that's not just a criticism. That's like, if it's about everything, your models aren't right. Because your models do not and cannot model everything.
What do you mean by everything when you say?
Well, but that's what people who talk about the climate apocalypse claim in some sense.
What the hell is he talking about? All right. They don't claim that the climate has to do with everything. They say that it will affect everything because it will. We live on this planet. It's the only planet we have. The climate surrounds us. The whole fucking planet. It surrounds the whole thing. Like, if we ruin this, what we have here, it's all we have, right? Like, what the hell is he talking about?
Sense. We have to change everything. It's like, everything, eh? Okay, what?
No, we don't have to change everything. Nobody said that we have to change everything. We have to change the way we generate power. We have to change the way we deal with waste. We have to change the way we, deal with the oceans and probably our food production. It's not everything. It's not everything, and it's not an insurmountable goal either. It's something that we can definitely achieve if we just get off of our dumb asses and actually do something about it, I don't want my kid to grow up in a world where there's climate refugees all over the place and rampant crime and the destruction of the oceans and no safe water anywhere. Like it's not a exaggeration. We're heading towards a hellscape if we don't take care of the world that we live on. And no amount of going to Mars, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love space travel, I love the idea of it, but no amount of going to Mars is going to make a better world anytime soon than we have right here, right now, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of it.
And the same with the word environment. That word doesn't mean, it means so much that it actually doesn't mean anything. Like when you say everything, in a sense, that's meaningless, right? Because, well, what are you pointing to? Well, I'm pointing to everything. Well, what's the difference between the environment and everything? There's no difference. What's the difference between climate and everything? Well, there's no difference. So this is a crisis of everything?
Word salad, guys. It is word salad. He said absolutely nothing there. Like, I have no idea where he gets this from. If anybody in chat can explain to me what the fuck he's trying to get at, like, please let me know. But it really, I think he's being paid to say stuff like this. Yeah, he's trying to baffle us with bullshit. That's about right.
It's like, no, it's not. Or if it is, well, if it really is, then we're done because we can't fix everything.
Well,
we have to. The fastest way to make the planet sustainably green and ecologically viable is to make poor people as rich as possible, as fast as we possibly can. Because the thing about poor people is that, well, first of all, they're not.
No. Oh my God. Okay. So not only is he saying the climate is not changing because it's everything, or I don't know what the fuck he was saying there, but now he's blaming everything on poor people instead of, the way we generally do things to generate power and the waste that we produce, so on and so forth. Well, you know what would be the fastest way to make all the poor people rich is to basically tax the fuck out of the rich and redistribute some wealth in this country. That's how we do it.
Resource efficient. They use a lot of resources to produce very, very little outcome. And so that's a problem. Slash and burn.
Why don't we just kill them all, huh, Jordan? Is that what you're getting at? You just want to kill all the poor people? Is that where you're going with this? How about you stop eating all meat, and then maybe that'll leave less of a footprint.
Agriculture, for example. But even more importantly, when you're insecure on a day-to-day basis, you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You're not paying attention to the broader environment, that hated word, around you. Mm-hmm. And you can't even really worry about your children's future in some real sense, because like, no, you don't understand. Lunch is the future. We don't have lunch, we're hungry, and that goes on for like a month.
Exactly, Oppenheimer. Very little outcome, like doing all the work. You mean like laboring, being for like slave wages, so that we can keep this whole fucking country going while you guys all sit and chuckle to yourselves because you fucking hold all the cards and have all the money? Jesus Christ, this guy is like, and see, it's poorer people and people who, like, a lot of people who are in worse positions listen to this guy. God, Jesus Christ. And then they fall for his bullshit. It's great.
We're dead. That's the future. So what happens? If you can get resources to the poorest section of the population, as soon as they get to the point where they have some hope of a genuine future, especially for their children,
okay, the reason we don't have a hope generally for our children is not only the economy, it's because of fucking climate change, and because assholes like you won't admit what's truly going on in the world.
Immediately become concerned about broader environmental considerations. And then the attempt to make the environment habitable and sustainable, that comes up of its own accord at a grassroots level and spreads everywhere. And the evidence for that is clear. And so this is one of the things that really bothered me about COP26. So, and that was based in part on this.
What is that?
That was the big climate meeting in the UK just a few months ago. You know, the one where all the COVID rules were suspended so the important people could talk about important things. In any case, I thought if the politicians who were discussing environmental sustainability were serious, especially the left-wing ones, and I say especially because the left-wing ones always say, well, we care about the poor and dispossessed. It's like, do you really? When push comes to shove. It's like, is it the environment or poor people? If your idea is that we have to limit growth to save the planet. If we limit growth...
I would say it's rich people. I would say it's rich people who do that, because it's usually coal and oil barons and, the people who are actually running crypto right now are causing a lot of energy to be depleted, and stopping, like, in oil companies and coal companies are stopping us from going into renewable energies. And the government is being controlled by special corporate interests who are stopping any legislation from being made to help the climate or to help poor people. So it's all boils down to rich people, I think. I think it's a much more logical point than he's trying to make here.
Growth, poor people starve. Because whenever we put limits on economic development, who suffers? The rich? Are you really? That's what you think? And you're on the left, you think if you put limits on economic development, the rich will suffer. That runs contrary to every theory that your whole political philosophy is based on. You put limits to growth on, the poor stay poor or get worse. Doesn't matter, because the planet has too many people on it anyways, which it most certainly does not. If you are serious about the environment and even vaguely concerned about poor people, all of your policies would be devoted to making the poor rich as fast as possible. But that would violate the anti-capitalist presumption, let's say, that the reason for environmental degradation in the first place is, say...
Capitalism? Because it is. It is. Unchecked capitalism is what's causing most of the environmental issues that we have. The unchecked capitalism in the factory farming industry, lack of regulations in the oil and coal industries and in the energy industries as a whole, the lack of legislation being passed to help stop these things from happening, because it's controlled by corporate interests who don't want any change coming. Yeah, rich people determine the environment in which we live and work. Poor people didn't put lead in the water, capitalists did. Exactly. Now, I will say that there has been some growth, like historically, because of capitalism. It's better than feudalism. Let's say that it's better than feudalism, but it's failing majorly right now. It's not doing. I mean, ever since I believe it was the 80s, really is when this really started happening. When they started taking away regulations on big business and which includes oil companies, pharmaceutical companies, all of these different billionaire corporate businesses. Once they were unchecked and able to do whatever the fuck they wanted, they start basically ruining the world in any possible way. Yeah, even Marx said capitalism was better than feudalism. That's very true. And it's straight out of theory, man. Like there's a reason. It was a stepping stone. That's how I see capitalism. Is it was a stepping stone to get us out of being. Yeah, it doesn't mean much, obviously, but yeah, but it was a stepping stone to get us out of the control of the feudal kings and rulers and things like that. It made things more democratized, but it's not enough. We shouldn't stop here, is what I'm saying. We need to refine our ideas on the economy and worker rights and all of that stuff, so that we're better, more efficient, better productive, happier. That's the most important thing, is that people need to be happy, and we need to progress in a way that's going to not only not only stop the planet from being destroyed, but also that lifts us all up, to past the point of poverty, no matter who you are. And we can achieve that. That's an easy goal to achieve if we would just stop allowing these greedy totalitarianist motherfuckers from screwing everything up and basically taking all of our resources and hoarding all of our money and using us as pawns to build their empires so that they can drill into the ground, rip everything out of it, poison the oceans, so on and so forth. It's ridiculous, man. We need to really do something about this, because it's getting to the point where we're not going to be able to, and the whole world's just going to be fucked.
Entrepreneurial and free market,
and that's not any sort of exaggeration either. I'm known for my hyperbole on occasion, but this, when it comes to climate change, I don't think that there's a level of hyperbole that you can really lead into that will not match what's actually going to happen.
Development, which it most certainly isn't. That's actually completely backwards. Make poor people rich. So what should a COP26 been about? That's fairly straightforward. It should have been about trying to generate as much energy as we possibly can to be distributed as widely as possible in the cheapest possible manner.
Notice he didn't say anything in there about doing it in a safe way so that we don't dump a bunch of chemicals and particulates and CO2 into the atmosphere. That we just need to do it as fast as possible. Jesus Christ.
Nuclear?
No, well, I would say ultimately likely nuclear, and probably not fusion, because it's so, fusion has always been a year away, 10 years away for the last 50 years. We haven't managed it. Nuclear, likely.
He doesn't know. He has no idea. He's so full of shit. Like, he has no idea. No idea whatsoever. That wasn't the only one, guys. There's more. Oh boy, is there more. This is Jordan Peterson talking about race issues. Oh, let's see here. Should we go over this one? This is the climate change one. Which one did I reopen? Thought I had 3 of them here.
Change one is a weird one.
Okay, so that's climate change types. Ah, okay, here we go. This is good. All right, so there's a couple of videos that I wanted to show you that have Jordan Peterson speaking on race issues. We'll start off with this one. And again, he's doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
So one part is, this is very, very cool. So when Arthur first grips the sword, he's blown off it. Now he can pull it out of the stone because he's the guy. He's the long lost son of the rightful king. Long lost. You said, well, wasn't everybody opposing the tyranny of the times? It's like, yeah, welcome to the world, man. Welcome to the world. We're all long lost sons of the rightful king. And the king's now a tyrant. And don't we have to deal with that? And that's...
What the fuck is he talking about, man?
There is bloody well right we do. So Arthur, who's got his eyes open, and he's born in straitened circumstances and has to grow up street smart, and his friends are all funny and they engage in witty repartee, and like he knows the world from the ground up. Grabs the sword, he can pull it out of the stone, but he's blown right off it. He can't wield it because
you said that already, dude. Like, God, get a point together.
He has visions of his evil uncle who conspired with feminine forces of chaos and killed his father, murdered his father.
Oh yeah, he's a chauvinist too. I forgot to mention that.
And his mother. So his uncle is a murderer. His uncle's a murderer. Well, so is your uncle. And so is my uncle. That's our historical guilt that the lefties weaponize all the time. It's like the soil we walk on is soaked with blood. And Arthur can't wield the sword that's his rightfully.
All right, so what he's trying to do here is he's trying to use the fact that there's historical precedent for all kinds of tyranny and things like that. He's saying that we should just ignore our past. I think this is what he's saying. It's Jordan Peterson, so... But what it sounds to me like he's saying is that we shouldn't talk about the slave owners and the things like that in this country because we all had people in our past that were, or ancestors that were tyrannical and ancestors that did bad things. The problem with this is that in many ways, the people of color in this country that were, whose ancestors were subject to the tyranny that the white colonizers of this country brought down on them by bringing them here and enslaving them, is still affecting them to this day. It's not, and it didn't end. It's not like all of a sudden, slavery ended and black people had just as much rights and standing in society as white people do. Black people have not had a fair shake in this country since the inception of it, since before the inception of it. And you have things like that go down the line, like you had the failure of the Reformation, the problem with redlining in this country, segregation, Jim Crow, all the way down the line. And then you have police brutality today and the demonizing of BLM, the disproportionate amount of people who are imprisoned in this country based that have a skin color that's different from white people's. It's ridiculous, and it's obvious that these problems are still going on. So it's because of that history that we lived, and we need to understand that in order to make change today so that things are equal for everybody, so that there is equality and there is equity. That's what we need. And he doesn't seem to realize that. He just ignores that.
Because he has visions of historical atrocity. It's like, welcome to the world, man. It's like, how do you know your masculine ambition isn't part of the world-destroying force? Because, yes, it is. So then...
Listen to Joe. He's like, good point. He has no idea. He just wants to sound smart.
Why, when I accuse you of racism and so forth, and your white privilege and your masculine privilege, like, why don't you just wander off in a corner and feel terrible and apologize? And the answer is, you probably will. Because most people do. You don't, but most people do. And I know why. Partly because they're reasonable. If 30 people come after you and say, you're a racist tyrant, and there's 30 of them, you go home and you think, well, 30 people think I'm a racist tyrant. And like, I got my flaws, man. And I might be a little racist because we all have in-group preferences, and I shoot my mouth off sometimes, and I haven't always been the way with women that I should be. And maybe I've mistreated some people, and maybe I did it too much. And sorry. And then you're a shell, right? Another mob comes for you. It doesn't work at all.
What the fuck is he talking about? Oh gosh, guys, I don't know. I can't even say like what his thoughts are. I can't put them together in words that make any sense whatsoever. I can't evaluate his statements because he doesn't make any sense. He doesn't make any... I have to try to discern and pull something out. All I know is what he's saying is wrong, and that he's... you can tell from his rhetoric that he's a chauvinist, and that he's racist, and that he's, an imperialist. But he throws all this extra jargon in there to try to confuse and I guess hypnotize people. I have no idea. Make himself sound smart. Yeah, I feel stupider listening to that asshat. Yeah, that's for sure. I think he did just go see the Disney movie, Sword in the Stone. That's what it was. He doesn't know anything. I actually studied the legends of the Arthurian legends quite a bit when I was younger. I was a big nerd. I loved doing shit like that. I'd sit in the library and study that kind of shit. But yeah. So one more, guys. I'm sorry to put you through this. I really am. But we should all be angry about this kind of bullshit. All right.
A voice of intolerance and bigotry and anger and hateful
sexual oppression.
What did Michael
prejudice,
Eric Dyson call you? An mean, angry white man.
And a mean, angry white man. Yeah,
hilarious.
Yeah.
You're not mean at all.
Yeah.
That's what's dumb about that statement. It's you're not mean at all. It's
I am.
Yeah, no. I think he's more like what's the word? I'm narcissistic than mean. He doesn't, which kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, I don't think he's deliberately mean. It's just who he is.
I'm white. Actually, that's a lie too. I'm kind of tan, and he was actually not black.
If you're tan,
he was
what
sort
the
of
fuck
brown.
am I? Because I'm darker than you.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But neither of us are white.
Well, I'm Italian.
Yeah, dismissive is bad enough. Yeah, for sure. And this whole rhetoric about, oh, I'm not really white, I'm tan. Well, what the fuck? You would, okay, so like, the point he's trying to get is that people shouldn't call themselves black. There's not a black culture because they're not black. They're brown or whatever. And it's just bullshit. He's just trying to use semantics or try to use some stupid argument to, I don't know, disavow black movements or something. I don't know. I have no idea. He's seriously just babbling on this show. And I'm sure that the right wing and fucking Nazis and racists everywhere are just eating it up. And chauvinists.
And
Mostly.
he was brown, not black.
Well, isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's really weird.
The black and white thing is so strange because
like
the shades are so...
tan and brown.
There's such a spectrum of shades of people. Unless you're talking to someone who is like 100% African from the darkest place where they're not wearing any clothes all day and they've developed all that melanin to protect themselves from the sun. even the term black is weird. And when you use it for people that are literally my color, it becomes very strange.
Yeah. This is true.
But yet, you get mad when they allow those people grants to come to your school, right? Like, he quit his fucking tenureship at his college, resigned his professorship because there were too many like people of color that were coming into the school, basically. So yeah, the guy has no like. He just talks and likes to hear himself talk. That's all it is. And he's racist and sexist and imperialist, and it just kind of blurts out of his mouth and goes out of his, rolls off of his tongue with a bunch of other word salad and tries to make it sound intellectual, and it's just a bunch of bullshit is all it is. So yeah, that's Jordan Peterson for y'all, and Joe Rogan. Look at this. Duh. Look at that look on his face. That's the epitome of Joe Rogan these days right there. What the fuck? What a fall from grace. What a fall from grace. All right. Enough Jordan Peterson. We're done with that. We're done. Done with that. God, what else do we want to talk about? How you guys doing? You all chilling? See a solid 4 people like watching it on that. It looks like, I don't know. But yeah, definitely getting the numbers up on the stream and the videos that I've been posting, guys, because and like as I said earlier, I'm going to be going on to, if any of you are familiar with any like debate bros online and stuff like that, I will be going on Counterpoint's show here pretty soon. He's been on Hippy Dippy. He's been on, I believe, Modern Day Debates. He's been on Vosh. I had an extended conversation with Vosh. And several other things. He's pretty big on Twitter. All that good stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to be going on his show pretty soon. We're going to be discussing... I can't even remember the topic off the top of my head that we were talking about. I think it was January 6th. It might be something else. I had a couple of debates lined up, so... But, look up natives react to reservation dogs. How do they react? Is I'll save that for another day because I'd have to watch through that before. I do have a couple more things for you guys. They love it. Yeah, I figured they would. Okay. All right, Derpshot. Hopefully you're still with us because this is the one that you were waiting for. So, as many of you know, in this country and in this world right now, there's some issues with shortages on a lot of things. There's supply chain issues. There's issues with finding materials for certain things. There's a glass shortage. There's inflation, rampant inflation for all kinds of different products. And where this is hitting really hard is the electronics and computer environments, like or businesses, corporations. You see that car companies can't make new cars because they don't have chips to put in them. You see video game companies who just came out with like new generations of systems and nobody can find them anywhere. You have people mining crypto like crazy and screwing up the environment and using every single bit of chips that they can get their hands on to mine crypto. And you see, just basically, we're having a hard time with the electronic sector and the technology sector as a whole because of this. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, guys. We're going to go over this article about Commerce Department survey uncovers alarming chip shortages. This will affect everything. Everything. Think about it. Think about, do you ever go, cell phones, do you ever go one day without using something that has a computer chip in it? Like, do you ever go more than a few hours without using something that has a computer chip in it? This is how we communicate with each other. This is how we do our work. This is how we run our cities. This is how we use our transportation. All of these things run on electronics, run on computers. And so we're in deep dog shit if we can't fix this issue. Anyways, moving on. The United States is facing an alarming shortage of semiconductors. A government survey of more than 150 companies that make and buy chips found the situation is threatening U.S. factory production and helping to fuel inflation. Oh yeah, it's a reciprocal thing. The inflation screws with the chip prices fuel inflation, so on and so forth. Gina Raimondo, the Commerce Secretary, said in an interview Monday. She said findings showed a critical need to support domestic manufacturing and called on Congress to pass legislation aimed at bolstering U.S. competitiveness with China by enabling more American production. This is something that I learned just recently. Like something like 80% of the semiconductors and the computer chips that are made in the world are made in Taiwan. What happens if like the situation between Taiwan and mainland China kind of blows up a little bit and fucking, China like fucks with Taiwan or blows up some of their warehouse? What the hell would happen? We would lose 80% of our chip production. So that's one of the issues that we're trying to fix. It's alarming, really, the situation we're in as a country and how urgently we need to move to increase our domestic capacity, Raimondo said. The findings show demand for the chips that power cars, electronics, medical devices, and other products far outstripping supply, even as global chip makers approach their maximum production capacity. While demand for semiconductors has increased 17% from 2019 to 2021, there was no commensurate increase in supply. A vast majority of semiconductor fabrication plants are using about 90% of their capacity to manufacture chips, meaning they have little immediate ability to increase their output, according to the data that the Commerce Department compiled. Not only that, I'm not sure if they're going to mention this later in the article. I have not read through this all the way yet, but there is also a problem with mining of the materials that's needed for these chips. We're kind of running out of some of this stuff. It's harder to find silicon. All of the things that we need to produce the chips is fewer and farther between, and which is, I think, a good reason that we should continue with the space program, if anything, is to mine asteroids and stuff like that so we can develop the things that we need to develop to progress technologically in the world. Of course, we got to make sure who's in control of that technological advancement isn't going to create Skynet or some shit like that. So the need for chips is expected to increase as technologies that use vast amounts of semiconductors like 5G and electric vehicles become more widespread. The combination of surging demand for consumer products that contain chips and pandemic-related disruptions in production have led to shortages and skyrocketing prices for semiconductors over the past few years. And so basically, it's a perfect storm of bullshit that's made this happen. Right, we've got shortages in supply of materials. We have the pandemic causing sickness and supply chain failures. We have inflation. We have all of these different things that are combining into a perfect storm that are really, really screwing things up and are making it impossible for these things to be manufactured at a quick enough rate. Not only that, but it's raising the price of them and making it very, very hard for the working class people to take advantage of any of these technologies. I'm not, I'm not the poorest person in the country, but I'm definitely not the richest by far. I struggle. I live paycheck to paycheck. I'm slightly food insecure. Sometimes some months are better than others, but it's definitely not something that I don't have to worry about. Like if I'm like basically, I like many others in this country. I'm not just speaking of myself. I like many others in this country are like one crisis, one bad accident, one small medium-sized mistake away from losing fucking everything, right? Like that's the economy that a lot of people live in right now. And so, I have a pretty decent computer for this, and this is first world problems right here, but the card I've got in the computer is a 1660 Ti, all right? And that card costs twice as much to purchase now when we built this computer than it was when the chip was first, or when the GPU was first released, right? So newer graphics cards that are supposed to go for somewhere around the $400 or $500 range are going for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on Amazon and other sites from scalpers. It's ridiculous, man. And then you've got the crypto guys that are hoarding all the cards too, which makes it harder for just simple gamers and people like that to take advantage of these things. And so if my computer, my graphics card took a shit on me for whatever reason, I would lose this opportunity to be here with you guys. I would not be able to replace that anytime soon. And it would essentially end my foray into live streaming. So, it's something that I'm concerned with. Definitely this kind of stuff right here. Let's see. The combination of surging demand for consumer products that contain chips. Let's see here. I was... Okay, there we go. Chip shortages have forced some factories that rely on components to make their products, like those of the U.S. car makers, or to slow or suspend production. That has dented U.S. economic growth and led to higher car prices, a big driver of the soaring inflation in the United States. The price of a used car grew 37% last year, helping to push inflation to a 40-year high in December. 37%. Good Lord. I'm glad I bought my car before COVID hit, or I started purchasing it. I'm still making payments, but let's see here. The Commerce Department sent out a request for information in September to global chip makers and consumers to gather information about inventories, production capacity, and backlogs in an effort to understand where bottlenecks exist in the industry and how to alleviate them. The result of that survey, which the Commerce Department published Tuesday morning, reveal how scarce global supplies of the chips have become. Here's where we get in the meat and potatoes, guys. This is where the scare comes in. This is where we need to start worrying, is what they're going to be talking about right here. Derpshot said, I paid mine off 2 years ago and I hope to drive it for another 5 to 8 years. Yeah, hopefully, man, because it's like they don't seem to be dropping it in price anytime soon. Not looking forward to the price of the next one. Yeah, you could sell your 2018 Hyundai for $3,000 more than you bought it for. See, that's what I'm talking about. There's obviously something wrong in this country if that's the kind of shit that's going on. Wow. Okay. Let's continue. The median inventory among buyers had fallen to fewer than 5 days from 40 days pre-pandemic, meaning that any hiccup in chip production because of a winter storm, for example, or another coronavirus outbreak could cause shortages that would shut down U.S. factories and once again destabilize supply chains, Raimondo said. We have no room for error. None, she added. To help address this issue, Biden administration officials have coalesced between a sprawling bill that the Senate passed in June as an answer to some of the nation's supply chain woes. The bill, known in the Senate as U.S. Innovation and Competition Act, would pour nearly $250 billion into scientific research and development to bolster competitiveness against China and prop up semiconductor makers by providing $52 billion in emergency subsidies. Even then, China's still going to be the leaders in this because they're so far ahead of the game right now. The only thing we can hope for is, and you know, nobody. It's not like chips are easy to make. These aren't something that like anybody can just throw together like a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's a very technical, very delicate process. And so I'm hoping that this money that's going into it can address that as well and make sure that we're not screwing things up and making shoddy equipment, shoddy chips. Let's see here. Yeah, scary stuff, guys. Momentum on the legislation stalled amid ideological disputes between the House and Senate over how to direct the funding. In June, House lawmakers passed their own narrower bill, eschewing the Senate's focus on technology development in favor of financing fundamental research. But administration officials, led by Raimondo, have begun prodding lawmakers behind the scenes in an effort to help bridge their differences to swiftly pass the bill, emphasizing the urgency of quickly signing solutions into law. There's no getting around this. There's no other solution, Raimondo said. We need more facilities. The Commerce Department's survey found that it takes companies twice as long in some cases to procure certain in-demand chips, sometimes as long as a year. Survey respondents said they also did not see the supply-demand mismatch in the industry dissipating in the next 6 months. The shortages have affected larger legacy chips, which are necessary for auto production, as well as the most advanced chips required to power technologies like artificial intelligence. Yet, somehow Facebook's getting all that stuff for their supercomputer for Meta or whatever. Something like 16,000 GPUs are going to be put in that thing by NVIDIA. It's insane. But yeah, that's nobody else can do that. You need trillions of dollars to be able to do that right now. The shortages have affected larger legacy. Oh, okay, I just read that. Raimondo said that he had said she had spent an enormous amount of time talking about the shortage to chief executives, some of whom had personally taken to hunting around the world for a small number of chips crucial to their supply chains. She added that the survey also revealed that worrying extent to which the United States is reliant on Taiwan for the most advanced chips. See, this is what I was talking about. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company has been the contract manufacturer choice for many companies, which may design their chips in the United States but turn to Asia to manufacture them. China considers its claim to Taiwan non-negotiable, and it has been taking an increasingly aggressive military posture towards the island, potentially putting U.S. supply of advanced chips at risk. Exactly what I was saying. Even a blockade could stop them from doing this. In a briefing with reporters Tuesday, Raimondo said that the survey had also uncovered unusually high prices for semiconductors that are sold through brokers, and the Commerce Department would be investigating those practices. Yeah, there are scalpers all over the place online doing this kind of thing too, with cards and things. It's a big market for them as of right now. The Biden administration has set up an early alert system to notify government of industry and pending chip shortages and convene company leaders to try and address the issue, among other actions. It has also welcomed industry investment while acknowledging that any new construction of chip manufacturing facilities in the United States will take several years and will not provide an immediate remedy to any of the shortages. On Friday, Intel announced that it would invest $20 billion in a facility in Ohio, which would contain 2 chip factories and directly employ 3,000 people. Construction of the first 2 factories is expected to begin this year, but production will not begin until 2025, Intel said, because it takes so fucking long to set up these factories, which have to be like completely like sterilized, and the environments are crazy for these types of things. So it's something that is going to take a while. It's going to get any of this set up. It's still going to take a while, but we need to not stop with just one place in Ohio. There needs to be rich people fucking, I implore you, you guys don't do any fucking thing worth any value to the working class. The best you could do is stop inflation and supply chain issues and stuff like that from happening by investing large amounts of money into chip manufacturing in the United States. It needs to be done. We need, and that could set us up in a better position to supply the rest of the world too. It could help us in a major way. And because I'm a socialist, I think they should all be worker co-ops. But that's my opinion. That's doesn't necessarily need to be that case right now, but that's my opinion. I think that would be good. Yes, they definitely need to have an educated workforce. It's not like making widgets. It's not like your regular machine shops. This is very, very, very delicate, very, very technological work that needs to be done. So yeah. Sorry about all the bad news today, guys. I do feel like I do this quite a bit. Let's see here. What else are we going to talk about? Oh, that's fun. We'll do that in here in a little bit. We'll talk about this because this is something that I actually think is a bit of a plus. I mean, I might sound like an asshole for this, but I think it's a bit of a plus. So it seems that the evangelical right in this country are causing a mass exodus of Americans from being involved in religion as a whole, or as Christian religion as a whole, right? They are scaring people off is what they're doing. And we have an article here that actually explains pretty well how this is happening. So let's take a look here. The backlash against right-wing evangelicals is reshaping American politics and faith. Some sociologists believe that the rising number of non-religious Americans is a reaction against right-wing evangelicals, but it's just part of that story. Let's learn more, shall we? Let's do it. What if I were to tell you that the following trends in American religion were all connected? Rising number of people who are religiously unaffiliated or identify as spiritual but not religious, a spike in positive attention to the religious left, the depoliticization of liberal religion, and the purification and radicalization of the religious right. As a sociologist who studied American religion and politics for many years, I have often struggled to make sense of these dramatic but seemingly disconnected changes. I now believe they can all be explained, at least in part, as products of backlash to the religious right. See, it's all backfiring on them. Woo! Oh, this is so funny. Says, since the religious right rose to national prominence in the 1980s, everything fucked up in the 80s, man. I thought the 80s were kind of cool, but it was the end of everything good that was going on in this country, it seems like. Anyways, since the religious right rose to national prominence in the 1980s, the movement's insertion of religion in public debate and uncompromising style of public discourse has alienated many non-adherents and members of the larger public. As its critics often note, the movement promotes policies such as bans on same-sex marriage and abortion that are viewed by growing numbers of Americans as intolerant and radical. Yeah, it's like, judge not lest ye be judged, right? But that's all they do. That's all they do is they judge and judge and judge and judge, and they make people, and then they try to stop people from having rights to do these things. Evanheimer says, Reagan fucked up cartoons even. Yeah, man, he did. Cartoons were awesome back then. I do like the cartoons are kind of being in many ways like used to piss off Republicans, right wing. I don't think that's what they're being used for, but it is pissing them off and stuff. So that makes me happy. Apparently everything's trans these days, even M&Ms. Let's see. I deregulated the educational content. PBS is dying. Like all that stuff's happening. Anyways, in a 2002 article, sociologists Michael Hout and Claude S. Fisher argued that a significant trend in American religion, the skyrocketing number of people disaffiliating from religion, could be partly explained as a political backlash against the religious right. In the 2 decades since this article was published, a wealth of additional evidence has emerged to support this general argument. Sociologists Joseph O. Baker and Buster G. Smith, what are they? OG. Look at that. Joseph O. and Buster G. Summarized the sentiment driving this backlash. If it's what it means to be religious, then I'm not religious. And that's really was the end of my religious beliefs and stuff when I was younger. Was I had so many bad experiences with like the clergy and people on the right, and just their beliefs that gay people were evil, all of that stuff. Like I got disillusioned very, very quickly with all of that. I'm like, this just seems like a bunch of hate to me. They seem like a bunch of haters. So, while path breaking, it's a weird word. While path breaking, this research has been relatively narrow in its focus. This is because it is typically started with the puzzle of the rising nuns and worked backward in search of a cause, landing on backlash against the religious right. I wondered what would happen if we flipped this question around and started with the rise of the religious right and public concerns about its radicalism. We could then consider the varied ways that backlash against this has manifested, including but not limited to the rise of the nuns. Not nuns like N-U-N-S, like nuns like N-O-N-E-S, like no religion. It's funny that they call it that. Backlash, after all, can take many forms. The kind of backlash that has led people to disavow religious affiliation in general is what I call broad form of backlash. It is in this form, backlash against a radical form of religious expression leads people to distance themselves from all religion, including more moderate religious groups that are viewed as guilty by association with radicals. This is a common pattern with social movements, where moderates often worry that radicals will discredit their movement as a whole. And I see, okay, so I can see the point behind this, because I remember when I was younger, like we went to some pretty conservative churches, and then I found out how fucking awful those people were in general. Not all of them, most of them, though, were pretty fucking awful. And then, so then I started trying to seek out other churches, you know, because I thought I had to be religious. I thought that was what you did, you know. I was young and impressionable. And so I was seeking out other churches, and I found these like rock and roll churches and these like, you know, laid back churches and stuff like that. And by this time I was a teenager, so I was a little bit more skeptical about these things, right? And so I remember me and some friends of mine found this rock and roll church in this like strip mall around a town square, and we decided to go check it out. But one of my friends, who was always one to push the envelope with things, decided that he was going to show up to this church in complete drag, full out drag, like Courtney Love style drag, because we were punk rocker kids. So he was gonna like wear a sundress and like fucked up makeup and stuff like that. And yeah, we went to this church, and we wanted to see if they were going to be accepting of us. You know, I wasn't dressed like that, but there were two of my friends were, and then two of us weren't. We were just had blue hair, and well, I had black hair, long black hair with red streaks, and like eyeliner on and stuff. I was going through a little bit of a gothic phase back then, like gothic punk phase. Anyways, so we walk into the church and everything goes silent. And we're trying to walk up and we sit down in the back pews. And then there's like this, it's just like in the movies, there's this rumble of like people talking and stuff. And then they ended up started playing music again. And one of the I don't know what they call them, deacons, fucking ushers, whatever, guys come over and brings another guy. And they literally told us that we had to leave and basically drug us the fuck out of there. Yeah. So that goes to show that even your most liberal churches seem to still have their qualms about certain types of things like drag and sexuality and stuff like that. So yeah. Just a little bit of a fun tidbit, a little anecdotal evidence there for you. But this is not the only plausible form the backlash can take. One can also imagine a narrower, more targeted backlash against the religious right itself, in which people do not abandon religion altogether, but rather migrate to more moderate or otherwise appealing religious groups. Evidence of this form of backlash abounds. It can be found in rising numbers of people who identify as spiritual, but not religious. These individuals are not rejecting religion altogether. They are embracing a new category of religiosity, one viewed as unpolluted by its association with radical conservative politics. You hear this a lot in society, right? Like you hear a lot of people talk about this kind of thing. You hear them say, "Oh, I'm spiritual, not religious," or I'm just spiritual. Like dating apps, right? Like I see this a lot on dating apps and stuff like that too, or social media. And it's like people who are raised Christian, but they're kind of just like, well, like this whole religion thing sounds like, they sound like a bunch of assholes. So they end up being spiritual and not religious, which I'm pretty okay with. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. I think spiritual is good. I would consider myself spiritual in some ways, but more of a scientifically based, the universe is more than we can ever imagine and more than we could ever comprehend kind of spiritual. See here. Similarly, those who associate with the religious left do not discredit religion in general, but promote what they view as a more pluralistic form of public religious expression. Since Donald Trump was elected president with the support of religious conservatives, typically low-profile groups on the religious left receive a surge of positive attention, as observers saw in them a means of checking the power of the religious right. As a column by Nicholas Kristof puts it in the New York Times, progressive Christians arise, hallelujah. Finally, new research finds that people who are both religious and politically liberal are intentionally distancing themselves from the religious right by depoliticizing their public religious expression, a development worthy of much more attention. Finally, backlash is not a one-way street. The experience of being the object of political backlash has led to a counter backlash among the conservative Christians who compromise the religious right. White evangelical Christians believe that they are being illegitimately prosecuted and are increasingly invested in the boundary between the perceived morally righteous and their enemies. Religious conservatives not committed to Trump and the Republican Party are being pushed out. Those who remain are not only deeply loyal to a shared political project, but less likely to encounter internal checks on radical ideas, which will make them increasingly dangerous, will make them increasingly violent, will make them increasingly crazy. I'm not being ableist. I'm just saying, they're environmentally crazy. Like their association with each other is making them all crazy. Let's see here. Even as the group is shrinking by some measures, recent data suggests that growing numbers of non-religious and non-Protestant Americans are adopting the label of evangelical, not as a statement of their religious identity, but as a statement of their political identity as right-wing Republicans or supporters of Donald Trump. Yeah, because when they say evangelical, their God is Donald, the Don. That's their religious leader right there, which is, I would be surprised if the guy could fucking like quote one Bible verse or even could remember 4 books of the Old Testament, you know, like Jesus Christ. He's not a religious man at all. He uses religion for his own benefit. Together with these backlashes seem to be driving this movement towards deeper political radicalism. Backlash against the religious right has had ripple effects far more widespread than previously recognized. These dynamics are effectively reshaping American religion and politics, and with show no signs of stopping. Oh gosh, finally, after all this bad news, kind of some good news. Kind of. I mean, it's good that people are starting that it shows that people think for themselves, you know. That there are still people out there that are thinking for themselves, and they're not just going to go along with this campaign of hate and campaign of bigotry and campaign of greed and violence that's being perpetrated by the evangelical right. So yeah, it's something. Now the thing is that we're by taking all of the good elements out of the bad elements and either making them, you know, nuns like NONES, or making them leftist making them join leftist religious organizations. We're leaving this bad element to fester together, right? And this bad element's festering with their horrible ideas and their racism and their sexism and their just violent tendencies and their fascism and all of that stuff is just melding together, and eventually that might and then we have oh wait, it's already happening. Then we have white nationalist terrorists and white supremacist terrorists and evangelical terrorists that are doing mass shootings and stuff. Yeah, that stuff's already happening, but that's just the start, man. Like, I see this coalescing into a more dangerous thing once it kind of gets rid of or all of the good elements from those groups leave. All the voices of reason. We're in trouble if that happens. So we need to put them in check just as much as we need to separate ourselves from them. Yeah, we'll cut it there. That's good for a segment. That'll work. So, you guys still hanging in there? Still got a few of you guys hanging in there. I know it's a lot of politics today. I'm trying to get through it because I did want to play at least an hour of video games. I want to go back to that Nobody Saves the World game. It's a lot of fun. I highly suggest it. I think these are on backwards. They are. There we go. So, I am going to take a short little break because I have to pee, and I will be right back. And I may bring oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Effenheimer. Yeah, after all this bad news, I do need to laugh. But yeah, I'm going to take a short break, and then I may bring on the voice of my child to talk about our next subject too, because we were discussing gamer girls and how much shit they get from the toxic masculinity in games like Valorant and stuff like that. And my kid is a trans male, but gets mistaken as female online quite a bit. So yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to show you a couple of videos. We're going to watch a video with them, and then we shall talk about it a little bit more. See if we can figure out what the problem is with dumbass gamers who don't like girls, fucking incels and stuff. God, my hair is really blue, huh? It's awesome. I was wondering if that would turn out all right. I might watch that video at the end of the show, at the end of the stream here, Effenheimer.
Hippie Sal is thriving today.
Hippie Sal's thriving?
Thriving.
Okay. Sweet. So well, you're gonna have to sit over on this side because, yeah, because. Okay, well, yeah, because we gotta both use these headphones to watch these videos. So we're going to start the next segment.
I actually gave him the idea for this.
So there's a little bit of a problem with gamer culture.
Yeah.
A little bit of a problem.
About a little.
So it seems that there are a lot of guys, people who claim to be little boys. They claim to be guys. They're little boys that seem to think that video games are just for them and not for girls of any sort,
or just like not men,
or just not men. You know, non-binaries or anything like that. They're just or trans people, right? They tend to.
I like pretending I'm cis on Valorant. I think it's funny.
They tend to be very, very. What's the word I'm looking for?
Sexist. Misogynistic.
Yeah, misogynistic. And they're like fucking incels, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. So.
Well, there's two things. So like, you either got like nice guys. Well, not nice guys, but like simps.
Mm-hmm.
Assholes.
Yeah.
And there's no middle ground. There's like, yo, I'll buy you battle pass if you send me pictures of your feet, and then get back to the fucking kitchen, you whore.
All right.
See, my best response to like, oh, you're so horrible. No, it's this one. This is the video I was watching.
What's that one?
You're a whore. My best response is that, I'll fuck your dad and give him a child he can respect. Or like he'll love. Or did he already walk out on you? What age did your father walk out on you? Or was it your mother? Or are you an orphan?
So we're gonna watch a video here that kind of shows. My kid here. What can I call you? I don't want to dox you. What should we call you?
God.
No.
I think Qizmhet's kid has a nice ring to it.
Qizmhet's kid. All right.
Or you can just call me like
the kid.
S.
All right, S. Ow, hey. You ripped him out of my ear.
Stole it?
Yeah, you stole it right out of my ear. All right, so we're going to watch these, and you're going to watch along with us, and we're going to comment on this bullshit.
I've watched this video like 80 times, so I think it's funny.
All right. So this is a game that S over here plays on a regular basis. Valorant. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. I've played it a little bit.
Riot Games produces. Mwah! Always masterpieces.
So here we go. Let's take a look. This is what female experience is on Valorant.
Hey, yo, is that a gamer girl?
What the fuck? Gamer girl. Is he like? What did he just get bricked up? Is that what happened?
Not for you.
He's fucking bricked up, man.
Stop.
Gamer girl. You dumb?
Stop sounding so sexy, baby.
Go back to the kitchen.
Go back to the fucking kitchen, man.
No, how about you go back to the kitchen and serve me up a nice meal?
Man, these guys are, they're witty, huh? These aren't things that have been said to women for hundreds of years already.
Oh yeah,
it's
like
fucking
you're
bullshit.
so fucking original. You're so fucking original. Wow, look at how so original you are. Look at how great you are.
Nice.
You're a female, right? Yeah, nice.
Girls, man. I got you, my queen.
My queen.
I ain't
I'll
simping.
simp it, dog. My queen.
I love when guys do that. They're like, my queen.
My queen.
I'm like, fuck yeah. I never tell people on Valorant I'm trans.
No,
It's so much worse.
stand in front of me so you get killed. Do you ever get guys to do that for you?
Yeah.
Like be your be your like
My meat shield? Yeah.
yeah, your meat shield.
I always end up getting the most kills in the game. I'm already like level 6.
Oh boy.
I just
Simp
started playing
always
that
being
so
a
long
good
ago.
teammate. We'll blame it on the ping, yeah?
Blame it on these nuts. They're really cold.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry.
These guys just the
Blame it on these nuts! Suck my dick.
My balls are starting to get a bit warm.
By the way, Twitch, as he leaves, he says, "I shall be back later on, and Potato is thick and great at the game."
Wow, how sweet.
Nice.
Why did he have to add the thick part?
Oh, because they're men.
Not all men are like this, I
Well,
swear.
Yes, but most.
But all of the
Especially on
ones,
Valorant.
especially on Valorant.
No, this plan relies solely on being on the potato.
What's the play, though? I don't know the play.
Oh wait, no, you're a girl. Never mind. Captain, come here.
Wait, what?
We must collect.
What? That's
She-
fucked up.
She says later that she had the most kills in that game and won an MVP.
Right, yeah. Dude, like... See, I would almost take a girl into battle with me on this game because the other guys would probably underestimate her and they would get fucking wrecked.
Well, like, you can't hear the enemy team, but you can talk to them. What I'll do is I'll flirt with the enemy team, then I have remorse, and they feel bad.
Derpshot says immature boys are like that, not men.
Well, sometimes men can be like that.
Alright, let's see here.
Like, if we are women.
If we are women, we collect the spices. Like we collect them kills.
What? Is spices something in the game? I don't...
No, he just says it out of the blue. Simple-minded men can be like
Because I was like, I played this game and I don't remember any spices.
that. No, there isn't many spices. Did you kiss her?
No.
No.
Okay, yo, this is
Oh,
getting
come on,
super
do it.
weird. What the hell?
We need
There's
that
this
for
fucking
Viper.
Frenchman's,
Kiss her.
What?
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 Isn't that funny?
No.
No.
No. you're hot.
Oh, you're hot.
Oh, you're hot. That's why I've had several
Jesus
guys that, you know,
Christ.
all I give them, I'm like, hey, anybody got a mic? And they're like,
How-
oh, you're hot, you're hot.
You're hot like your what? Your cartoon character on the game is
No,
hot.
your voice.
Oh.
Like, oh, your voice is hot.
Wow.
Wow, so original. Wow, that really makes me attracted. Yes. No.
How is she gonna give you a kiss? You're playing a fucking video game. Are your characters just gonna meet up? That next time that if somebody says that to you, you should be like, yeah, come here. And then when they get over close, just slit their throat with your knife in the game. Oh, damn it.
This isn't Mortal Kombat. She fucking runs away.
Come here, I need to show you a secret. Screen down. If you go in this corner, there's like a meta to like where you can glitch up here.
Did he just say I'll protect you?
Okay, you're muted. Thanks, bye.
Was he playing a Boo Boo Zella? What the fuck was that?
Trolls on.
I love you.
Viper, I'm 7. What's 6? Predator.
We're going B and Alt B. Please wall and Alt B.
Why don't you ask nicely?
You dumb?
Whoa.
It's pretty mild.
Wall and
That's
Alt.
mild.
Like, how hard is it for you to f***ing understand? I
Yo,
have
you're
to
being
speak like a
so
f***ing
rude.
child to you.
You are being
No,
so
wall
rude.
and
No.
Alt that
The last thing I will do is listen to you.
He tried to add me afterwards.
What?
That's ridiculous, man.
I'd urge.
So ridiculous.
Would you like Juice WRLD?
30 seconds left.
Yeah, I don't like him either.
Why did he bring it up? He brought it up because he simps for Juice WRLD. I like Juice WRLD. I don't care what the fuck she says.
Dead?
No, Juice WRLD's not dead.
What rap?
Young Dolph is dead.
I don't like rap.
What kind of? I don't like rap either. What kind of song?
He's so full of crap.
Well, obviously.
Like, I don't know. Rap is just kind of trash, to be honest. Alright, Potato, I have a question. My chat wants to ask you a question. It's kind of weird though.
Oh, I know the uncensored version of this. If you want
Alright,
to say
so
it.
who's gonna and would you rather
Whoa.
You want to know the uncensored version?
Yes.
Would you rather sit on a cake and eat dick, or sit on a dick and eat cake?
sit on a... My chat's being weird as fuck right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Why would you like placate them then? Why would you do that? Why would you even?
Because he doesn't have a chat. He's fucking lying.
Ignored his question, was gonna mute him, but then thought about the content. Let's see what he says next.
Who's next? The content.
You guys are boring. I'm not gonna lie.
You're asking weird questions.
Yeah, I'm asking Potato a question. He doesn't want to answer it.
Why don't you ask another team member? For example, there is Silva and there is Omen.
What about them?
Ask them the question.
And then he gets
Alright,
fucked.
they don't have mics.
Then he gets fucked.
Did y'all see that flick?
Nah, man, I was kind of spamming.
Yeah,
out
I'm
of my class.
your voice. You fucking sound so sexy.
Man, these guys need it like.
Touch grass, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Their fucking mouth. I'm surprised I can't hear him going in the microphone. Jesus Christ.
Dad, I just want to change my name to Tomato.
Why?
What does that even mean?
Her name is Potato.
That doesn't matter. What does that mean?
Watch.
So I could be her potato.
Hey, Potato.
What?
Come here.
Whoa.
Oh, that's horny.
A real gentleman, right? I'm low-key scared, bro. I'm getting tremor out of my...
You're so good, Potato. You're so good, Potato.
That wasn't that bad. I mean, he just said that she was good.
The way he said it was the weird thing.
Yeah.
It's like, you're
Take
so
it, bro.
good, Potato.
It's long. Take it.
What the fuck? That was okay. That was bad.
planned.
Yeah.
That was planned. It's like, it's
Like I
long.
said earlier.
What? Yo.
It's alright, I busted a good to that recording. Omen knows what I'm talking about.
What?
Nick, I just busted a good ass nut.
To what?
I can't even
To that
understand.
recording I was
N-word, I
taking
just
earlier.
busted a good ass nut.
Oh.
It's too early to molly, by the way. That's way too early. It's just gonna go up.
I thought I was gonna die.
Oh, it's just...
That's what
One enemy remaining. Hey, I got one of them.
True. No time. We're good.
Well,
How?
yes, sir.
Wait, what was that? What was that about it being too early?
Alright, my bad. You know,
That's why I recorded your
take
voice
it
and I just beat my dick to it.
I don't.
What the fuck, man? Do you think these guys would actually talk to her like that in public?
Probably.
Do you really think so?
Gamer guys don't have any type of respect for people are.
Jesus Christ. I consider myself a gamer guy.
Well, like, gamer guy. Gamer guy. You know, gamer guy.
That.
It was beautiful.
So as I'm gonna die.
Stop sounding so sexy, baby.
He sounds like a moron. I didn't peek. What? Hold on. What did it say?
She didn't peek the kill. So
I didn't
so
peek-
did, and then he killed, and then he died, and I mistakenly thought he
I thought you had
killed
better
Jet.
aim.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to back up, get with you, man.
Yo, that's shade though?
Don't give them time to
That's what I'm saying.
She really said, thought you had better aim.
Yeah, you
I didn't-
fucking stupid ass bitch.
I didn't-
Fucking shoot. Why didn't you shoot at all, you fucking dumb hoe?
I thought you didn't.
Well, it gets worse.
This
It
guy
gets-
needs beat up.
Dumb hoe, you're lucky I don't know your address. I'd fucking rip you tonight.
Whoa.
You motherfucking bitch, I'd fucking rip you.
Yeah.
I'll fucking rip you right
That's
now.
not.
Is that a teammate or is that
That's her teammate, yeah.
Jesus Christ? Because you can't hear the other team, right?
No.
Funny.
God,
That's
dude.
not funny.
Yeah, dude.
At least there was one guy that was like, "Yeah, dude, you need to shut your fucking mouth." The rest of the team also called him out. He immediately disconnected and didn't connect back the rest of the game. And we still won the game.
Less toxic interaction. Let's bring the mood. Ah!
Viper, you better be better than Reina, or else I'm gonna be mad.
Okay, no promises.
Oh.
No! Evacuate!
Hey,
evacuate!
yo, is that a gamer
evacuate. Boys, I'm bitching. I'll see you guys later.
What the? Was he?
Hey, Dad, when's your stream gonna be over?
Was he bricked up and ready to go?
I'm
What's
gonna record when the next time I play Valorant.
I'm digging the name Potato. Not gonna lie. It's lit.
I'll do it live and
It is a
can
girl.
see what,
I have a gaming right
Okay.
Yo.
you can see what kind of stuff happens.
Hello. This bitch.
I mean, I've done that a few times. Just like,
Well,
yo,
you
what's
do-
good?
Oh my god, you guys!
I got body blocked.
He said kill somebody, but he's no kills. Toes.
Shut up, Potato.
Toes.
You're a fucking girl. Get some right to.
Ooh, that was such a slam. You're a girl.
You're a girl. Get some marks and then we can talk. Oh yeah, so original. Bro, I hope some girl fucks your dad and gives him a child that he can be proud of.
Last player
I'll see
standing.
you with any kills on the board.
I do have kills.
One enemy remaining.
Take Potato. Kill him and get him.
Likely under
That's
you.
my girl.
Not your girl.
Good for her.
You would have said you were my girl. Just saying. Potato, do you have Minecraft? I'd be down to run a few games with you. Dream's actually my cousin.
No.
Nice try.
Dream's actually my cousin.
Oh.
Some of the man, these guys. They need to touch grass for real.
Hello, Potato.
Hello.
Ready to run it down, boys?
How old are you, Potato?
Why are you asking?
Because I'm asking.
Why?
Because I'm asking.
Yo.
It's
That's
anime.
the most amazing name. Oh my god, I thought it was Animal Lover, and I was like, okay.
I hate
He's
animals.
a furry,
Best
don't worry about him. I'm not.
Potato.
He had sex with me in a panda suit.
What the fuck? No, dude, it was not.
What? What? Now we're getting furries involved? Leave furries alone.
The panda suit, it was a bunny suit.
Oh, that's my face.
Bunny
Oh,
suit. Get it right.
Anyone got a mic?
I do now.
I'm just kidding, we all got mics. We're in Discord though.
In the butt.
El Chapo Capo.
Just mute in the West.
Fastest mute in the West.
Are you a real gamer? I'm sorry.
Are you a real gamer girl? No.
I'm so cringe. I'm sorry.
You are a definition of cringe right now.
I am.
He admits it. He's like, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I need you,
Hey,
Dan.
Potato.
What?
You speak Spanish?
Un poco.
That's hot.
Not really.
I'll take you out.
You like Long John Silver's?
What the fuck? I'm almost okay with that because I think he was trying to be funny. You know, like.
You like Long John Silver? Hater, you're a female.
I can't tell these kids' voices from each other, so Phoenix is red, and I did my best for the rest.
Alright.
Yeah.
Nice. I like this. Yo, Viper, bro, you sound cute. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, you know, maybe after this. Never mind.
Oh, you're cracked, Phoenix.
Pog. I know. Say it one more time.
These kids are like fucking 12.
Yeah. Please, Viper.
She's how old is she?
Viper? Like 26. Everybody
Yeah.
call Viper. She's of legal drinking is what I know. No.
Bro, you do sound sexy on your mic, no cap.
You're so freaking weird.
She does sound sexy.
Of all the people I want to meet,
You're disgusting.
y'all are nasty little 12. Oh, we're kidding. Hello.
Oh my god.
See?
Are you taking this seriously? You're so weird, seriously.
You're actually like weird for that.
Actually, so weird for that.
Viper,
like,
though.
literally,
Actually,
actually,
I like that.
Please add me.
please, like.
The rose. It's pretty cool.
Kidding.
Alright, raise B. Yeah, I'm kidding too. Don't worry.
Is that something you can buy on the game?
I think so.
Yeah.
I want you to buy me stuff for the game, but you won't.
foot massager that
How much money am I
like self-warming, so like if you guys hear it.
Didn't I get you a bunch of like
for League?
Oh yeah, I
For
got you, but
League.
I gave you a bunch of money for League, so.
Yeah, and now I need more.
Jesus.
More.
Oh, I know.
More.
All right. This is like ridiculous.
Disgusting. We really don't need to watch one video of this because all the rest of them are just pretty much the same. I just think they're funny.
He can ace so he can get his dream hot potato.
Dream hot potato.
Viper, stay behind me. I'll protect you. Stay behind me. I'll protect you. Oh my gosh. If you move this, I get your Discord.
Oh, you're good. You're goated. Oh, you're insane.
Well, I get your Discord. I didn't agree to that.
Hello? You pick?
Oh, like it's like a female trying to pick where to go to eat. Jesus Christ.
Yo, imagine having an OnlyFans.
Man.
You used to yell at me for not knowing where I wanted
long
to eat. You
schlong
can't
on the
say nothing.
cam. Yo, Viper.
I didn't say it was because you like
Viper.
were any gender whatsoever.
And a bitch.
I never called you a bitch. Chat, I never called my kid a bitch.
No, he's
No.
done it before. He's done it before. Don't.
I've said quit your bitching before.
No, that's a lie. Call me a bitch. I'll sit there. I'm up to it.
I've never called you a bitch.
Hey, yo, Potato. Frost wants your cack.
Yeah. Cook.
D-
Balls.
Does he
Cock
think?
and ball torture.
Does he
Cock
think?
and ball torture.
Does he think Potato's a trans man?
No.
If you win, I'll give you this fucking schmeat.
What the hell, man?
I want that, so.
If I heard, like, if I was in a game like this and I heard, like, people talking to girls like this, I would flip the. I'm glad I don't play Valorant regularly.
Breach and Jeff is so stay away from them.
Thanks for letting me know.
That's racist.
Hey, I'm sexist, not racist. There's a difference.
Yo, Killjoy.
Jesus Christ.
Killjoy, you got a girlfriend?
Yeah.
I saw it. Why'd you trade a skin for a basic?
I had a Stinger, he had a Vandal.
Priorities.
Huh?
Nothing.
He stutters when he's around ladies, so I am sorry about that.
What are you guys' X and Y chromosomes?
What? He didn't ask their gender, he asked their X and Y chromosomes.
Bro, I didn't know this could become a fucking science test.
Yeah.
There's no way you just asked that.
What's your name?
Mine, it means ass.
Oh, classy.
Yeah.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Killjoy!
That's a tight asshole, is that what he was saying?
Well, that's tight. You're right.
No, like tight.
Oh.
That's nice.
Can I put you a swamp potato?
Yes.
Why?
What the hell? She just backs off in the other direction. So,
Alright, well,
so that was it. Yeah, hold on. I do wanna go over. Hold on. I wanna watch this one real quick too, because I think this is if it's more the same, we will only watch a little bit of it. But all right, did you cover your face?
I'm ready.
All right. So you gotta put in the headphones.
I don't think that's gonna be possible.
There's a hole in the top of that hat. You can just pull your head through. All right, let's do this. Come on, I gotta make a segment out of this at some point. All right. Let's see.
Okay.
See if there's more commentary in this one.
Weird shit while playing games because I'm a girl. Sometimes it's funny and other times it's disgusting. So here's a series called Oh My God, a Girl! And all of the other ridiculous shit that I have to listen to.
Fortify the room. You need to keep the hostage secure.
What the fuck was that?
Shut the fuck up.
Do me a favor, leave this lobby. Shouldn't even be on here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. Why are you still here?
And I'm gonna fucking die. Oh my god, go fuck yourself!
Shut up. Can you do me a favor and get me a poppy bagel with extra cream? Please?
Jesus Christ.
Yes?
Not like us.
Oh, after you team killed me twice, I don't think so.
I'm a homosexual, so I do not care for the opinions of women.
Oh, that's a woman. I thought it was just a 12-year-old.
What?
I'm a homosexual and I care about if women like me.
Is that a grill?
A grill?
No,
Is that a grill?
I don't know what a grill is.
No, it's a fucking
George Foreman.
you dumb bitch.
Jesus Christ. Okay, it's gonna be more of the same. So this is what girls have to put up with on a regular basis. Even trans men.
I can, for your gaming segment, I can play a little bit of Valorant while you stand next, listen to me play, and I'll talk to them.
Well, I don't know if we're gonna get to. I don't know if we're gonna get into the gaming portion because I'm gonna.
Then I'm just gonna game.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna let you game.
Nice.
But for
You
since
can
it's
sit
the
there and
weekend.
listen.
But you know, that's the thing though, Derpshot, is it's not you don't, it's just dumb teens online, that's all it is. But some of those guys sound older, for one. Second of all, this is still toxic masculinity that carries on into real life, right? Like it's
Derpshot, do correct me if I'm wrong, but like I think you're presenting masculine. I don't think like you know what it's like to have a feminine voice on a game. I've been told that all my goal in life is to get fucking raped. I don't. So like, it's not just like being. It's not just like saying dumb shit online. Like,
yeah.
If it was just saying dumb shit, they're just telling me like, go back to the kitchen and fuck yourself. Like that would be it. That would be it.
Yeah, it's just
But it's not.
It's indicative of what happens in culture as a whole, because you see these guys talk like this and they and talk to women like this and they think it's okay, they think it's funny, they think it's something that they should be able to do, and then they go to school and
work, job,
and then like sexually harass the women there, or sexually harass NBs there, or sexually harass trans men there, whatever, like S did here in school, got pretty much sexually assaulted.
We're not gonna go into it, but
yeah,
like, it's happened a few times.
Yeah, I mean, so that kind of stuff carries over because there's this like influence of toxic culture that's going into the whole thing, and that's why I tend to think that that it isn't just trivial issue or something that you shouldn't read too far into, because I think it is an indicative of a larger problem within men within not only America, probably in the Western civilization as a whole.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to talk to S a little bit about this, because I thought that when they were telling me that the things that were said, and then I decided to take it upon myself to look up a couple of videos about this stuff. Yeah, and I found that it's pretty bad, and it's not just women who get this. It's there's a lot of racism present in video games and stuff too. Yeah.
They thought I was a black 12-year-old boy, so they were saying racial slurs at me. And when I told them I was a white. Okay, and I tell people on Valorant that I'm cis, because it is so much worse to be trans on Valorant than it is to be a woman on Valorant. Like, it so fucking sucks. Like, it is, no matter what you are, if you don't sound like a cis guy, you're gonna get harassed no matter what. But it is so much better to pretend to be a woman, because you have that opportunity of maybe guys simping over you and not harassing you. So, it's a bit better, but when you're trans, it's so much worse. So I told them that I was a white woman, and they freaked out, and they're like, how old are you? Can I get your Snap? Can I get your Insta? Please, a crumb of your affection.
Yeah. Well, Derpshot, the thing, the school didn't go nuts, the staff didn't go nuts, because it happened in the hallways in between classes, and the kid just said some remarks and smacked S on the butt, and so someone was told, but S didn't even know who this person was. So it was kind of hard for them to report it. All they could do was give a description. It was somebody who was in upper class, I believe, so. But I just wanted to go over that with you guys. Like, it was something that they had mentioned to me, and I thought it would be cool to bring them in for a segment.
Schools don't give a shit about sexual harassment. And I will stand by this. They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. I have had multiple reports I have sent in, and nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's this whole boys will be boys attitude kind of thing, you know.
Boys will be boys. Boys will go to jail. Boys should fucking.
Which is wrong, and I think it's something that needs to change. And I've seen girls that are like playing video games that are 10 times better than a lot of the guys that do too. So it's not like it's not like even a physical thing. Girls can own motherfuckers in video games, like, you know.
No, I have.
Yeah, so I mean, I know S is really good at League, and it barely took them any time at all to get good at League.
No, it took, like, it's supposed to be like one of the most skill-capped games out there. I find that bullshit. No respect. Like, I'm still learning, and I'm not like a top-tier player, but it's not hard to learn a basic champion. It's not really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. You watch one video on YouTube, you like listen to somebody talk to you about it, you like listen to music while you're playing the game, you just zone out, you turn off your mic, you don't talk to anybody the entire time, you're just chilling.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Well, maybe one of the gaming segments I do one of these times, I'm gonna have Sal come on and teach me how to play League.
I don't think you will know how to play any of the characters that I play, but you know what?
But I'm gonna get back to the stream. Thanks, kid.
But I want to play.
Well, hey, I got one more segment to do. Actually, two more small segments to do, and then I'll so like 20 minutes.
Call my name.
Okay, I will.
Thanks.
All right, such a good kid. I'd given up on the language a long time ago, guys. As far as it's internet culture, man. Like, and I cuss like a sailor anyway, so I can't do anything about it. All right. All right, let's see here. What else are we gonna go over here real quick? Oh, okay. 3 quick things. This one's gonna be a short one here, but I wanted to go over. I found this video that Steven Crowder did just recently, and I think this was posted January 12th, and it's a video where Steven Crowder's talking about KKK origins. Now my prediction is one of two things: either he's going to simp for them, or he's going to like try to like condemn them, but without condemning them necessarily. So we'll see what happens here. Steven Crowder is known for his racist comedy in quotes that he tries to do on his show. So I'm interested to see what his take on this is. So this is Steven Crowder. Ugh, yuck. And this is his video on the origins of the KKK. We'll see how this goes.
KKK names, and by the way, like Robert.
I guess we got to put the headphones in, huh? There we go. Start from the beginning.
You ever look at the KKK names? And by the way, like Robert Byrd, second longest filibuster ever. This guy was a very highly ranked Klansman. He had Klan Dental in a company car.
Aren't there like grand wizards and stuff?
Yes, there's an exalted Cyclops.
Yeah, he had a
exalted Cyclops.
Robert Byrd had a 401k for whipping.
Did he?
So yes, Grand Wizard was these were actual rankings in the KKK.
Okay.
Grand Wizard, exalted Cyclops, Grand Giant, Grand Dragon, Grand Magi, Council of the Centaurs. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't know this. It got out of hand. But really, the KKK, and this is the more you know, it was, the racist thing was a front for the fact that they were really, the KKK was a nerd Dungeons and Dragons group.
What the fuck? See, I feel like it's kind of downplaying their shit. Like it's in a way he's trying to downplay the KKK as something that's not is not serious, or what didn't do anything serious. I think is what the kind of goal is here. He's gonna mention that Oppenheimer for sure. You know, that KKK was started by Southern Dems. I guarantee it. I don't see it not happening. I don't know. We've got 3 minutes left in this video. Let's see.
Man. All right, now y'all remember.
I bet you he already owned the Klan outfits. Yeah, how much you want to bet? Like, this is in his wardrobe already.
When we left off, we were about to cross the bog of bewilderment.
That's right, and when Greg here, Grand Exalted Cyclops got his foot stuck in the dwarf plasma. Wasn't it dragon plasm? No, you got that wrong. I'm the Grand Dragon.
Wait, I thought he was the Grand Dragon.
No, I'm the Grand Imperial Wizard.
Wait, hold up. We cannot have a Grand Dragon, a Grand Imperial Wizard, and a Grand Exalted Cyclops.
I'm the Grand Imperial Wizard. I called it.
Guys, it's just too many Grands. It's redundant as shit.
Honey.
Again, these guys just wanted a reason to put on Klan outfits. It doesn't show that they're racist. It's just showing he's like, so I don't know what he's trying to do here. Like,
Did you use my can opener again?
No, I didn't touch the damn can opener, Josephine. Now, for the last time, we're busy.
Are you guys playing that stupid role-playing game again?
No, we're just
planning our next attack on the Jews.
Yeah, they run the banks.
Yeah, you got a lot of nerve asking me that, Josephine. We're down here doing
yeah, this is definitely a downplay of what the KKK were. You know, it's just you know, it's like, it's not like the bit he did about black farmers, which is ridiculous. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, but it's very extremely racist. It was basically a minstrel show right on his channel. And he's done things like reenacted the George Floyd thing. He's awful. He's an awful human being, and so it's not in me to believe that he is condemning the KKK in any sort of way. It's just a downplaying of their role in racism.
manly things. Now, I can't plan our next lynching if you keep yapping.
All right, gee.
Okay, fine. So you're...
And I'm a leftist, and I love Dungeons and Dragons, by the way, too. I play every Sunday.
the Grand Dragon, you're the Grand Imperial Wizard, and you're the Grand Exalted Cyclops. And what am I?
You're the Nighthawk.
Son of a damn courier?
Well, you were the last to join. So.
Yeah, but it's my house.
You're the only one who has a basement. We all have soft soil.
And I painted the figurines.
You really think I don't know what you boys are doing down there?
Damn it, woman! We're busy down here, hating.
Yeah, they're ruining our neighborhoods.
And they're,
And you know he actually said that, right? Like, they bleeped it, but he said it. He was happy to.
destroying our society.
Josephine, I'd be of sound mind to slap you in your smart mouth.
You left your name tags up here on the counter. I can read all your stupid names.
Name tags?
I got a new typewriter, and I thought it would be fun to make name tags.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Damn it, wizard.
It was supposed to be a surprise. I must have left them on the table when I went to the bathroom and forgot.
Now you ruined the whole damn thing.
And stop using my fucking bathroom.
You know you're not a real hate group, right?
Yes, we are, woman.
See? There it is, right there. Boom. You know you're not a real hate group, right? He's downplaying these guys.
We are too a real hate group.
We're fixing to go burn a cross on Lyle's lawn right now.
No, shh. No. Then we'll have to do it.
It's not that hard. I got the plywood.
It's not about the plywood. I like Lyle.
I'll let him know.
See? Yeah. This is a whole thing about. It was just faked. It was they really weren't racist.
Go first.
All right, okay. You get the plywood and kerosene. You call Lyle. And then we'll meet back here in about an hour to finish up. Okay. Josephine, I hope you're hungry because you're about to eat a mouthful of your words.
That cross burning hot as hell.
Hey man, them stupid ass white kids, they playing Dungeons and Dragons again?
They're a bunch of nerds. Dungeons and Dragons. Stupid.
So how about the cross, Lyle? Our wives made us do it.
Wives made you do it. knock off Clayton.
We'll be back tomorrow to clean it.
Yeah, it's not funny. It's really not. Yeah, that's the thing, is he thinks he's a comedian, but he's not. He's not funny at all. The only time conservatives seem to be funny is when they're trying not to be. That's the only time I see them be funny, is when they're actually trying to be serious, and then they sound like complete buffoons. So that's funny to laugh at.
Hey, tell you what, your wife's supposed to be stopping by. I got something to fix for her. Make sure she stop by.
I sure will.
Me and my brother gonna take care of her, all right?
Sorry again.
There goes the neighborhood.
Yeah, and then he makes black people look like that, like they're gonna rape your wives and or fuck your wives and stuff like that. What the fuck, man? Like, absolutely ridiculous, guys. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So that's Steven Crowder. I trying to. I don't know what the hell he was trying to do there. Trying to be funny and failing miserably. It's a lot of fun to watch, though, when these guys face plant, though. It really is. It really is. I gotta admit. All right. We just got two little bit more bits of news here for you guys that I'm going to go over. I'm going to let my kid play video games tonight instead of me playing on the stream, because they've been in school all week, and it's, I gotta let them have the computer every once in a while so that they can have some enjoyment. But next week, I'm going to try to stream 4 nights of the week. I'm going to try. I'm not making any promises. I'm going to try. I will at least definitely get 3 in. So, and we'll do some fun stuff then. But just a couple other things that I want to talk about right now. And this is something that I've been talking about for a while, and that I've kind of advocated for quite a bit, just in my own circles and in debates that I've had with other people and things like that. This is something that I think we should be able to do to make our country run more smoothly, and that is abolish the Senate. Now, there are some good people in the Senate. There's Bernie Sanders, and there's a couple of others that are not so bad, I guess. But for the most part, the Senate is an obstruction to any progress that we can see in this country, in many ways. Because of the way that the Senate is chosen, and because of the way that that laws are blocked, the way they're easily blocked from from the right. The filibuster is easily used in these situations, and it's just a more undemocratic body in our system. So. Let's go ahead and take a look here. The U.S. Senate presents a long-term threat to democracy, to U.S. democracy. And I tend to agree with this. There we go. The so-called world's greatest deliberative body is deliberately and inherently undemocratic. What did I just say? So far, the article's agreeing with me. So, enabled by Democratic Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, a united front of U.S. Senate Republicans dealt American democracy a massive blow last week by blocking the Freedom to Vote John R. Lewis Act. The U.S. Senate, a place where desperately needed federal voting rights legislation goes to die, a spectacle unworthy of what Democratic Representative Jamie Raskin called the world's greatest deliberative body. Raskin was referring to the Senate's reputation not necessarily in an affirmative, but in an aspirational way. He wanted to issue a challenge to the senators to live up to this glorious notion. Nevertheless, the mythical idea of the Senate as the world's greatest deliberative body is widely held among the country's political elite. the kind of American exceptionalism that still very much wraps perspective of U.S. history and politics. Warps the perspective of U.S. history and politics. Having a hard time reading today for some reason, guys. What we really need to grapple with is the fact that the current situation is not just this disgraceful aberration from the Senate's supposedly noble past and true character. In some fundamental ways, the Senate is working as intended. It has always been one of the most powerful, undemocratic distortions of the political system. And not by accident, because that's what it was designed to be. And this is true. The Senate was so that the minority in the country would have a say when things were more separated, when we didn't have telephones, we didn't have intercommunication, we didn't have a solid system of interacting with each other across large distances. And this is a big country, so I'm not even simping for the Senate as it was intended back then, because I still think it was a bad idea to begin with. But it was less of a detriment back then than it is now. Let's see here. So far, much of the attention has focused on the filibuster as the most blatantly undemocratic tool of obstruction. It is true that the frequency of filibuster use has increased dramatically in recent years. Dramatically is an understatement. This thing used to be used like once every blue moon. Like I think, once every 10, 20 years or something like that. And I think during Obama's term, it was used something like 15 times, 20 times. I don't know. I'd have to look up the exact numbers, but it was a ridiculous amount. So this is something that's been frequently used to obstruct justice, obstruct any progress in the United States. So far, much of the attention has focused... Oh yeah, I just read that. Still, what Republicans did last week was well in line with the longer-term historical norm. The filibuster has consistently been an instrument of white Christian domination. During the 20th century, it was used predominantly to block civil rights legislation and measures such as anti-lynching bills. Again, this is true. The Senate was where a lot of these things went to die. It took massive efforts from the grassroots and massive efforts from outside of the legislative bodies in order to get any change done in this country. They were forced into it. Since the filibuster was not part of the Senate's original design and only came to be by accident in the early 19th century, it is tempting to portray it as the real culprit, a stain on an otherwise admirable institution. Let's remember, however, that just like the Electoral College, the Senate was always intended to be a layer of insulation between those in power and the people, which is why senators were initially appointed by state legislatures. The Senate was supposed to help stave off what many of the founders saw as the threat of too much democracy. So what we see today is not just an institution hijacked by a radicalized Republican Party, although it is that too, but an institution badly in need of structural reform that should go well beyond getting rid of the filibuster. As I said, I think it's we should cut the fat and get rid of it altogether. So let's see here. Crowder's a film. This is you actually had to stand and talk. Yeah, the filibuster was something that before you had to sit and talk for long hours. If you saw what's that movie? Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, right? That movie shows what a filibuster should be. Now there's non-talking filibusters where they can just vote, and it's yeah, it was done in Parks and Rec too. I forgot about that. But it's been completely like made so that they don't even have to do that. They can just say they're going to filibust. They're going to use the filibuster, and then that's all they need to do. It's ridiculous. Let's see here. In the current political situation, reforming the Senate, just like protecting voting rights, is considered a partisan idea. And it is, but only because democracy itself has become a partisan issue. One of the two major parties, only the Democratic Party is a Democratic party. This is true. It does seem that the Democratic Party is partially Democratic, but the Republican Party is wholly fascist these days. I mean, I don't see, like, it's hard to find anybody in the establishment of the Democratic Party or in the Republican Party. I'm not talking about citizens. I'm talking about the establishment, the legislators that are pro-democracy. All of them seem to have fascistic delusions of grandeur in many respects, and complete delusions in others. They try to do things like steal elections and so on and so forth. It's ridiculous what's going on with the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party isn't much of a stopgap to that as well. But at least the Democratic Party does still want to operate in a democratic framework. Right, only Mr. Smith went where he's... Yeah, that's all right, man. I can't type worth a crap either. The latest trend is claiming that because we are a republic, that we aren't a democracy. That's very true. You've been hearing that a lot, and it's crazy how like quickly the pickup is when Republicans throw out a talking point, right? Like then it's like they're all connected psychically. All of them start using that talking point all of a sudden, and so you're hearing this more and more and more that this is a republic, not a democracy. And that's absolute bullshit. It shouldn't be that way. And yeah. Anyways, so let's go on further here. Let's be specific about how undemocratic an institution this is. Something that is best captured in numbers. In the current 50-50 Senate, Democratic senators represent 40 million more voters. By about 2040, 70% of the country will be represented by just 30 senators, while less than 1/3 of the electorate will get to determine 70 out of 100 members of the Senate. So it's going to be flipped around. So everything that the general public wants, the majority of Americans want, will be completely stopped. We won't be able to get anything that we want through the Senate because 70% of the opposition to democracy will be in charge. 70 out of 100 will be in charge. And they're not representative of the American people. They're representative of their own interests and the interests of their corporate overlords. And they manufacture consent through their constituents, who they fill their heads full of lies and make them think that there's boogeymen out there like immigrants and stuff like that. It's all a big like scam. It's all a giant brainwashing way to make the American people think that they're voting their interests when they're not. And it's only going to get worse with time, because the Republicans are going to represent less and less of the American people, but have more and more of the pie to vote on. Yeah, corporate hegemony is our present and future. This is very, very true. Unless there's some sort of revolution or something, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of really nervous about what the future has to hold. Rich space assholes living in satellites, yeah. You know, like sky cities and shit. The issue of disproportionate representation is deeply intertwined with the problem of white Christian patriarchal rule. The Senate privileges conservative white voters who dominate in small, less populous states. It is biased towards white people, with or without the filibuster. Here are two more numbers everyone should know. About out of about 2,000 U.S. senators in the country's history, 11 have been black. More than 150 years since the Civil War, more than half a century since civil rights legislation of the 1960s, 11 black senators. And to date, 58 women have served in the Senate. More than a century since Congress passed the 19th Amendment, finally granting women the right to vote. 58 female senators. Whenever someone says the Senate is the world's greatest deliberative body, remember that it is deliberately and inherently undemocratic, an anti-democratic distortion that stands in the way of America finally realizing the promise of multiracial, pluralistic democracy. And here's the thing, guys. How diversity is a great thing. Diversity is a great thing. I'll say this: it's not enough. You have Biden, who's trying to replace a Supreme Court judge now with a black woman or a woman of color, which is great. That's great, but it's not going to do us any favors if that woman of color is something like Candace Owens, right? They have to be class conscious. They have to understand what the American people need, and that's the same for these things. It's like, you know, it can be female senators. I mean, there are a lot of female senators. There's female senators right now that are awful. They're horrible, right? And so it doesn't have to do with just identity. These have to be people that actually will do something for the American people, for the working class, for the proletariat. This is something that we need, not just identity politics. Let's see here. The legislation Republicans are blocking in the Senate is the minimum needed to resist the state-level authoritarian onslaught on the system. But beyond such immediate measures, a more structural approach to democracy reform is required, and Congress' upper chamber needs to be at the center of those debates. America can have the Senate in its present form or liberal democracy, but probably not both. The good news is that serious reform is eminently possible. There certainly is no filibuster requirements in the U.S. Constitution, and there are ways to alleviate the Senate's anti-democratic character by adding D.C. and Puerto Rico as states, which is something they need to do. I've stated this several times. There is no reason why these should just be U.S. territories and not states. You know, they're directly affected by things that we do here in this country, and so therefore they should have a right to say what representation we have. The tension between white male elite rule and aspirations of true democracy has always shaped the American project. It is inherent in the nation's founding documents and its political system. The existing institutional order is in conflict with the promise that all people deserve to participate as equals in a democratic polity. And you know, you ask Republicans and they'll say, yeah, you know, everybody should get a say, but then their actions prove differently in many ways. Let's see. Hopefully it will be Kamala help solve the problem. But it's right. Her being a black woman doesn't overcome her corporatism. She's as bad as any other white man. That's very true. She's a corporate shill. She takes money from you know, corporate interests, and I think that anybody who takes money from corporate interests should not be representing us. And I think that anybody who is partaking in the stock market should not be representing us, because there's too much inside information. There's ways to screw the people so that they can get ahead. Things like that. Yeah, exactly. Maybe worse, because she serves the same donors and we are not allowed to criticize her. That's exactly right. And that's bullshit, Effenheimer. We are allowed to criticize her. I don't criticize the color of her skin. It has nothing to do with that. I don't criticize her racial background. I criticize her actions, and that's completely fine. And this is the one time I'll invoke this, because it's invoked too much by Republicans and other people who try to whitewash things. But Martin Luther King Jr. said it's that we should look at people not by the color of their or judge people not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And this would apply more so to people like Kamala Harris and like other people of color who have shielded for the right wing. There's nothing wrong in saying that there are people who do that. Look, Candace Owens, man, she is antithetical to everything that black people should stand for in this country. She's fighting against her own interests in many cases, or at least the interests of the people that are in her ancestry and the people that are that share her skin tone. So yeah, she's fucked more black people than Equifax. Very, very good. I like that. Anyways, we're going to continue on here. Where was I? Okay, here we go. The world's greatest deliberative body, if it were true, it would be quite the indictment of the world's other deliberative chambers. Let's abandon such vestiges of mythical exceptionalism that make it harder to acknowledge the anti-democratic threats and deficiencies in American politics and culture. The fact that a shrinking minority of white conservatives is consistently being enabled to hold on to power against the will of the majority of voters is destined to cause a massive legitimacy crisis. And unless the system is properly democratized, it is only going to get worse. Either that or people are going to fucking flip out and like there's going to be a violent revolution or insurrection, man. Because once it gets to the point where there's this overwhelming amount of people that are being disenfranchised and basically put on the lower rung of the ladder because of these rich white conservatives and this fucking elitist culture, the more people are going to get pissed off and the more people you're going to see out in the streets trying to fight for their rights. So it's definitely something that we need to think about, and it's definitely something that we need to consider is just getting rid of the Senate altogether and really democratizing things. Go with more of a popular vote instead of electoral vote. Instead of electoral college. I think that's a big one. The biggest one is to get money out of politics. That should be like on the list of problems I think we have. That's one of the greatest ones right there. But the Senate's definitely right up there with it. All right, let's see here. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about, guys, and then we're going to call it a night. Thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Maybe we'll end with that video that is it something I can watch on stream, Effenheimer? I'm not sure if that's that video that you linked. If it is, I mean, I just don't want to get copyright striked or anything like that. Let me know if it is. Yeah, okay, good. All right. Okay, so there was some other fun stuff that happened. This is we're gonna okay. So there was a subreddit called Antiwork that was doing some pretty good things. I mean, like as far as anti-work, I think that's kind of a poor framing. I think that work in the general colloquialized sense of what everybody thinks work is important. You know, if we don't work, society doesn't run, things don't get done, products don't get made, so on and so forth. But with this one, where they say anti-work, they mean work as in the capitalist version of work, as opposed to labor, which is something that can be owned by the proletariat if it were a more socialist situation. But not everybody understands these terms, and I think that's where the left fails quite a bit. Is that, you know, we're really like a lot of the people on the left are really bad at using rhetoric that will fit a narrative that will be easy to digest by other people, right? So if you go talking about Marxist theory and stuff all the time to, a Republican, they're going to call you a communist and probably try to punch you in the face or something like that. So if you can learn to espouse these ideas to people, like relay the ideas of worker ownership or better working conditions and things like that to the right, if you're able to do that a little bit more, we may be able to find a way to, at least for some of them, convince them of our ideas. It's a better method than using things like anti-work, which just sounds, I would say, anti or work reform. I think that's what they're using now is for their Reddit now, because they got in some, not trouble, but they made themselves look like fools. Because the other thing that the left is really bad at is realizing that optics are important as far as when you're dealing with the other side. You have to kind of do things that make them not see you as a dirty, degenerate leftist. And I know that's bullshit. And that people should be able to be who they want and have the ideas that they want and stuff like that, and not be made fun of for, their sociability levels, right? Their ability to socialize with people. But we also have to realize that if somebody's not good at being social or relaying information to people, maybe those are people that they can work in the behind the scenes and where they're more effective, instead of putting them on Fox News and having them completely just get bullied and bowled over by a fucking corporate shill such as this guy right here. So let's see if we can find the actual video is on here. Okay, so we're gonna watch this first, and then I'm gonna read through the article. So this was the parents of Doreen Ford, who is I believe a trans woman. There was some I guess misunderstanding of whether she was a trans woman or they were non-binary. So I'm not exactly sure which, but so we'll refer to them as they, just so I can be accurate, because I mean, if you don't know, use they, right? Let's see here. It says, Derpshots, I have to keep some of my slightly right ideas close to my chest, or most of the people I know will call me some right-wing nut job. No, I don't think that's the case. I think people assume that's the case. Like, the leftists will rip into you, but I'm an empathetic person, man. I would probably with you especially, I would probably question you about it and kind of come to an understanding of why you believe the things that you do, and then if I found some sort of error in judgment or some sort of hole in your logic or something like that, I might say something like that, but I would never do that as far as try to rip into you personally for believing, I wouldn't call you stupid or anything like that. It's, I don't know if I'm a rare I think that there's a good portion of people that would do that. It's just online, it doesn't seem like that a lot of times, because people on the left and right feel like that they can just treat people like shit online, which I try not to do. I try to set an example as to not do that. I always attack an argument and not the person, unless that person is just a horrible human being and is making racist comments or something like that. Then I might rip into him a little bit. But anyways, let's watch this.
Over 1.6 million subscribers. Joining me now is the person who operates this anti-work group.
And by operate, they mean it's that this person's a moderator. That's it. They don't operate. They didn't start it. It's a community. It's a subreddit. You know, it's not something that somebody is in control of.
Doreen Ford. All right, so Doreen, why do you like the...
Okay, so I want to tell you something right now from the start of this. Okay, so when I decided that I wanted to do live streaming, I told myself one thing. First of all, if I'm talking to somebody, like I'm interviewing like somebody or on somebody's show, talk to the fucking camera. All right, give eye contact to the person that you're talking to. So talk to the camera, right? Now I don't do that all the time on here because I'm live streaming, so it's like I'm just talking to everybody, and you know, I've got two screens, so I'm kind of like looking back and forth and that kind of stuff. But when you're on an interview, and I've done several TV interviews, I did it for Occupy Wall Street when I was involved in the Occupy Omaha version of that, and you know, Bush protests like back in the day. I'm old. So I've been doing this quite a long time, and when I was on the news, kind of accosting, well, not accosting, but debating with our mayor and stuff. So yeah, basically, one thing that I've always had a rule, and I've been in public speaking and stuff like that, so I kind of know this, is that you look at the camera, you look at the person when you're talking to them, when you're being interviewed. That shows a sign of confidence. It's going to make you look like less like you're trying to shy away from the points you're trying to make. The other thing is if you're going on a program such as this on Fox News, oh, for God's sake, like, clean up your room, get some lighting on your face. Yeah, it's a sign of respect too. Yeah. But get some lighting on your face, like, make sure your background looks decent. Like, the reason when I started this, I was like, I'm not going to live stream until I can have a decent background in the background. It's aesthetically pleasing. Like, I don't want people to like sit there and have to watch my gray ass wall, or like, you know, I want them to have an aesthetically pleasing image to look at. So like when you look at the background of my stream, I mean, I worked hard on this. I got some nerdy stuff up here and over here, and I've got lighting proper, and I've got overhead lighting, and I've got front facing lighting, and I've got up lighting in the back of the room. I've got the fireplace. Like, I tried to pimp it out so you guys had something to look at other than my ugly mug, right? So that's something I feel is very important, and it makes you more reputable, right? It makes you more authentic. I think it makes you easier to relate to if you're giving eye contact and stuff like that, and it makes it harder for people to bully you. And you're gonna see in this video that Doreen here gets bullied quite a bit.
The idea of being home, not working, but still getting paid by corporate America.
Yeah, so there's some misconceptions about the movement.
Also, the nervous moving back and forth. No eye contact. It's awful, man. They could have hit this out of the park, but they didn't. And it caused a big backlash online.
So we're a movement where we want to reduce the amount of work that people feel like they're forced to do. And so we want to still put in effort. We want to put in labor. But we don't want to necessarily be in a position where we feel trapped. You know, you just quoted from Office Space, where that person feels very trapped in their job. I think we're calling for a society where there's less of that. But yeah, absolutely, people still want to do things. They just want to do things where they feel rewarded and they feel like they're in a good spot in their life, and that their job respects them and stuff like that. You know, there's varying positions on the...
So Doreen, but you're not being forced to work. This isn't slave labor. You've applied for a job.
Okay, I'd push back here. So I'm gonna go through this as how I would answer these questions, right? First of all, technically you're not being forced at gunpoint to work, but we are being forced into wage slavery in many ways because of the cost of inflation, the lack of a minimum wage or a living wage for a lot of the work that's done in this country, a lack of worker worker abilities to control their labor, and the lack of say that they have in the companies that they work for, poor working conditions, all of these things. And they say, oh, well, if you're having those poor working conditions, you can just quit your job and find another one. It's not that fucking easy, man. When you are in a job for 20, or like you have 4 kids sitting at home and you're working 3 jobs to make ends meet, and you're making pennies on the dollar, you can't just quit your job and not make rent. You know, you all often have to have a job already lined up before you do something like that. And if you're working 2 jobs and taking care of kids at the same time and you're a single parent, that's next to impossible to go out and actually look for a job, you know, to make ends meet. I work 2 jobs and then I do this in my spare time, which hasn't made me any money whatsoever. But I'm making a Patreon, guys. That's gonna happen soon. And there is a donate button on Twitch and on YouTube as well, that kind of stuff. But basically, you have to work in this country. There's no choice. You have to work. And a lot of times you have to work in positions that are physically demanding, morally demeaning, just demeaning in general, that break you down. Like you get treated like shit by your employers. A lot of women get harassed, that sort of thing. There's no way out of it. There's no checks and balances a lot of times for these things to get better, right? So yeah, I put shoes on my feet to reach the floor so I don't swap like that in any video conferencing. I have interviews recently where I watched the feedback camera, and this helped a lot. Yeah, it does help. I have 2 degrees in 14 years in my field, and I'm a month and a half of trying to find new work. I can't imagine someone trying to find a $12 to $20 an hour and the difficulty they face. Yeah, it's really hard out there. It's hard. And the gig economy has kind of screwed things up too. Like, I mean, you can work for pennies on the dollar working for a company like Uber Eats or Uber itself or DoorDash or something like that. Or being a subcontractor, like, you know, I am for part of my labor. I'm a DJ and I subcontract out to bars and couples for weddings and things like that. And, you know, that work is a lot less steady during the pandemic, I'll tell you that. But let's continue on with this. I just want to get through this real quick.
You've agreed to the terms and conditions of the employment, and, you know, you can walk away from that job at any time. And
no, you can't. As I just explained, you can't just walk away.
So I don't understand really what this is about, except it sounds like maybe people are just being lazy. Are you encouraging?
I hate this. This guy could just want to punch him in the fucking face because in Roblox, you know, I don't want to actually beat him up, you know, like in a video game. Oh, thanks, Effenheimer. Yeah, that's awesome. That's my, actually, I believe my first donation ever. So that's awesome. I've been wanting to see if that would work, actually. So I'm glad it did. The guy on the point doesn't make a very good case. Oh, that's what we're talking about, me Popsicle. Yeah, that's the whole point, is he totally bungled this. The guy on the left, though, he's a piece of shit. He's a jerk, and he's talking about, you know, how Americans are lazy because they don't want to work. It has nothing to do with the fact that working conditions are complete shit in this country, and that we have to work, you know, inordinate amount of hours to make enough money to put food on the table and to make ends meet. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with people peeing in bottles at Amazon because they're not allowed to go on a bathroom break. Nothing to do with any of that. The lack of worker control in their businesses, and lack of unionization and union busting going on or wherever. It's not laziness that there are so many people that are just fed up with working.
Encouraging people to be lazy?
So I think laziness is a virtue in a society where people...
Oh God. See, they picked the total wrong person for this, man. He won't even look at the camera, or they. I just misgendered the person. They won't look at the camera. They won't, make any. They're not making any good points. They're not making a solid argument for the point of work reform, or working less in the country, or UBI, or any of the stuff that you could bring up during an interview like this, during a debate over this.
Constantly want you to be productive 24/7, and it's good to have rest. That doesn't mean you should be...
Yeah, it is. Me, Popsicle, being fed up with work versus being fed up with working. Oh, thank you, Derpshot. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love the little emoji guys too. Yeah, it's good stuff. But yeah, it's there's being fed up with working versus being fed up with working conditions. So the thing is it's not only working conditions in this country, it's the sheer amount of hours that you have to work. It's the lack of vacation time. It's the lack of being able to take time off for maternity, especially for men, when their wives are need their help around the house. So that's what I'm saying, is this guy's not framing the argument very well, and the whole anti-work movement was not based upon the arguments that this guy made, and I will get to that, because the whole community was like, basically, this person is not representative of us. They didn't fulfill their arguments in a way that is aligned with what we're talking about, right? Effenheimer says, of course they picked the wrong person. The right person would kick their ass. Yeah. And finding good benefits, even in tech, is a pain in the ass. Yeah, I mean, it's a really hard working situation in this country right now. And just I don't know how many of you out there have worked in fast food, but that's gotten worse and worse. Walmart, things like that. It's horrible working conditions. Yeah, okay, so there's a difference between doing what you love for your work and being a wage slave, right? So being a wage slave and being where that's your whole life, it's like 60-70% of your life has gone towards working, and then 20% is towards sleeping. You have no time to do anything else, and then you get stuck in that one thing for your whole life, and there's no way that you can expand your horizons and learn to do other things and become better at there's no culture where you can be a farmer and a writer at the same time. It's or a factory worker and a politician. It doesn't happen like that very often, because you're so fucking tired from doing the 60 hours a week in your job. So there is something to be said about that. And Me Popsicle says, in tech, 40 hours a week with good benefits and awesome pay, only have associate's degree. I wish that was the way for everyone, but relatively, I don't know how bad it can be for everyone else. It is bad for everyone else. And see, that's the thing, is a lot of people think it's just because their position's not so bad, like it's not that bad, then everybody else has the same. But it's not that case. It's not. I mean, you can see that in statistics. You can see that in anecdotal evidence. You can see that in all kinds of different evidence. There's people suffering because they're not able to work. A lot of companies, especially in tech, I feel like do offer a bit more of benefits and things like that, but they're still not the greatest. I mean, everybody could improve, is what I'm saying. And this says, but the corporate a-holes don't want you to be happy. They just want you to know. No, they want to. The whole point of capitalism, the way we have it, is it directly opposes the owner class and the worker class, right? They're always at opposition because the owner class wants to get as much labor out of each person for as little overhead as possible. So they're going to try to get as much out of you as they possibly can, for the most part. I'm not saying every single company is like this, but 9 times out of 10, this is the way it is. So they're going to try to get as much labor out of you as possible for the least amount of investment, right? And with the worker, they're going to try to get the most fulfilling and most amount out of their job for the least amount of hours and the least amount of effort, and that's mainly because the working conditions are so bad, right? So that's the situation there. I'm going to continue on. I'll get back to the comments here in just a bit.
Resting all the time or not putting effort into things that you care about. But I think one of the
What do you think is like a good work day? How many hours is a solid work day in your ideal society?
Sure. I mean, I think as much as people want. I mean, I personally work. I have.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird question. So, like, what I think is, like, some jobs can be done, like, if if you can get all the work done in 10 hours, get it done in 10 hours. Some jobs are like something that you have to do every day because it's a service industry job and there's customers every day and things like that. So it's going to be more. But I do know in many situations I've seen where, there are companies who will hire people, and these people will either be understaffed and the people that are working there are working 40, 60 hours a week and working their ass off, or sometimes it's slow and people just sit around and do nothing when they could be doing other things. And that's because of hourly wages a lot of times and things like that too. So there could be some simple changes, letting people use their cell phones when it's slow at work. A lot of places don't do that. If I'm at my day job and I'm on my cell phone, I get yelled at, even when there's no customers anywhere around. So, I mean, there could be some simple changes and things like that too, but, so I just steal stuff from work to even things out. I actually read an article about that said, theft in businesses has been going up, as inflation has been going up and as pay has been stagnant. So that makes sense. It does make a lot of sense. All right.
I have like a 20-25 hour work weeks, which I think is fairly good. So I would like less work hours.
And what do you do, Doreen?
I'm a dog walker.
A dog walker. Okay.
Yes.
And how?
So
how
I
old
find a
are
lot
you,
of
if you don't mind me asking?
Sure, I'm 30.
You're 30. Okay. And is there something you want to do besides?
Stop moving in your chair, for Christ's sakes, man. Like, oh my God, it's the worst person for the interview ever.
Being a dog walker, do you aspire to do anything more than dog walking, or is that kind of your pinnacle?
See, he's just being a dick right now. He knows he's got this opportunity to make this dude look like a piece of shit, or make this person look like a piece of shit. I keep saying, like, I don't mean to misgender. I swear. Like, that's not my MO. I can't. I'm not sure what their gender is exactly either. I think I was told that they were non-binary. Yeah, I guess dude is gender neutral. I've called girls dude too. But this person is just like not equipped with the necessary tools to be in an interview with like this and come out on top. Just not. They could have picked somebody better for this. Because I do agree with a lot of the stuff that they were trying to put forth on the subreddit. I really do. I think that there are horrible working conditions in this country, and I do think that we could do more to improve working conditions. Take some of the Italian and Scandinavian and Greece models for work, things like that. Take some things out of there. Universal healthcare, so that you could free the biggest thing about universal healthcare is being able to free people up so that they're not tethered to their job. You got to think, a lot of people have their health insurance tethered to their job, so when they leave their job, they lose their health insurance too, which could be losing their health insurance for their whole family, which is kind of a way to kind of put somebody into indentured servitude, especially if there's somebody in the family with a pre-existing condition, right? So these types of things happen. There's several other things, paid leave, better working conditions, 4-day work week. I would agree with that. There's UBI, and several other things we can do to improve the general working conditions and general lives of the working class in this country.
I love working with dogs. If I had to do this for the rest of my life, I wouldn't be super complaining. Dogs are wonderful animals. But I would love to teach. I would love to, work with people and stuff like that.
What would you teach, Doreen?
Philosophy mostly. Just introduction to philosophy, critical thinking.
See, look, he's just being a dick. Look at the shit-eating grin on his face. He's like, I got this one, fucking heathen socialists.
Reason, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I would love to take your class, Doreen. I would just be taking notes the whole time. And you know what? A professor's a very similar schedule than something that you're imagining. So I think that actually might work perfectly for you. Listen, I think this might not be the greatest idea, but who am I to judge? To each their own, they say. It's a free country.
Sure.
Not everything's free, but it is a free country. Thank you so much.
Sure.
We got to run. We got to pay the bills.
Oh my god. Okay, so that was painful to watch. Like, oh gosh, extremely painful to watch. So, all right, guys. Let me go through these comments right here. A millionaire paid by a billionaire is interviewing a dog walker condescendingly. Yeah, that's basically what it was. But the guy didn't do himself any favors, man. Like, and that the group of moderators who put him, like, nominated that person to be, a spokesperson for them or for the whole community of the subreddit is really has some problems. Like, they did not do a good job in that interview at all. They bungled it because they seem to be unable to use social cues and I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, you can be neurodivergent and have great skills in other things. You could be not a introvert and be great at other things, but don't put somebody who's an introvert like on a camera in front of millions of people to espouse ideas that aren't popular with that particular viewership anyways, right? They needed to pick a better person. They need to pick somebody with talking points prepared and that knew what they were doing when they went on there. So it really screwed up the subreddit. That person got a lot of backlash and was actually, which I do not like, was there was a lot of transphobic and homophobic statements made, which I do not agree with whatsoever. It's absolute crap that people were doing that. But with that said, there is some validity to saying that person wasn't a good representative of the organization or the community that the subreddit was representing. So yeah, it's a bit of a problem. I think the left needs to get better at optics than we are. let's see here. Me Popsicle, I'd say there's subpar working conditions. Horrible working conditions exist in the other countries, in my opinion. I don't know, man. I swear to God that there are many jobs. I don't know, like it doesn't sound like you've ever worked at a Walmart. I don't know if you've worked at a fast food restaurant in the past, 10 years or whatever. And I don't, but there are awful working conditions. You can see this, you can see this. Well, Target's actually not a bad place to work. I heard it's kind of shit, but it's not super bad. But look at the working conditions with Amazon, for instance, people peeing in bottles and stuff like that. There's problems with Tesla. There's problems with all of these big corporations. You see strikes going on with Kellogg's, all these big factory jobs. You see things like that happening. You hear about Blizzard, Activision, who just got bought by Microsoft, where there was so many like problems with harassment and overworking and things like that. There are some major problems with work conditions in the United States. Just because we don't experience them, just because all of us don't experience them doesn't mean a large portion of the population doesn't. So, let's see here. If I could Derpshot says that if I could afford to work for a small tech business, I would, but healthcare kills that for me. Yeah, exactly. It's something you need. Especially, I have a kid. Like, it's hard for me to switch jobs and things like that. Startups and like small tech businesses and things like that are great to work with. And Me Popsicle says, honestly, he was a passive dick, but could have been a lot worse. Yeah, I mean, it could have been worse, but it got worse. That's the thing, is if you read into some of the things that were said, like the mods were pissed, the community was pissed, and it didn't make any of them look like they were advocating what they were advocating. He didn't ask any questions that were allowing that person to put forth those points necessarily, but that's what you need, though, so you need somebody in that can push that narrative in there when you're going up against a bully like that. Let's see here. Bad conditions exist everywhere. We don't need to let them get worse because they really suck in China, because we are headed that way. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is there are bad work conditions in other countries like Japan and stuff. You hear about was that Foxconn, where people were committing suicide on a regular basis and things like that. But we're headed in that direction, and if we don't, and the economy is getting worse and worse, and people are getting more and more food insecure, and jobs are having a harder time keeping people in place because they don't give good working conditions, things like that. It says, of course, they don't need to get worse, just saying relatively. And then let's see here. Reposting this since it's worth mentioning, no system or rules will fix the greed and power that drives these outcomes, because the system is always ran by people who aren't infallible. There are ways to mitigate it, though. I'm not saying that any system is going to be perfect by any means, but what we have right now with this late stage unchecked capitalism is a big problem. Yeah, that was right. It was Taiwan with Foxconn. Yep. You're right about that. But I know there were some issues. There's some major issues in Japan with their work ethic as well, right? Like they do overwork there quite a bit. There's a lot of people who commit suicide and work themselves to death over there as well. It has been but I feel like the power dynamic has been that way for a long time, but we're at a point where we can democratize the conversation a little bit more, because we have powers of things like I'm talking to you guys right now over at light speed over the internet about these issues and trying to build awareness about need for worker reform and things like that in society. So these ideas can get spread a lot easier, and it can cause a generation of new ideas or a new push towards more worker rights in this country. So, and that's what I think we need. I don't think I will see a full version of socialism as I want it to happen in my life. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think that we can regulate things a little bit better and create a more equitable situation for the working class by, rallying together and fighting some of these companies on their poor work practices. It's a cultural honor thing too. Yeah, but look at our democracy, man. It's full of people looking to reach their own goals. Us be damned. That's the truth, and that's something we need to fight against too. I don't think that I don't think that we're completely screwed, and I don't think that we should become apathetic and just give up, right? So like, yeah, there's a bunch of bullshit going on in Congress, and but think about how the conversations changed over the past 30, 40 years. Do you think that we would have been able to talk about universal health care back then, or even worker rights or anything like that? Like, a lot of these things since the 80s have been there's no talking about it. If you mention any form of socialism or something like that, you get labeled a fucking commie, so it's one of those situations where we have an ability now to raise our voices up more, and we need to organize better and push back on these corporate interests and push back against this unchecked capitalism and push back against the lack of respect and lack of care for workers in this country. And we need to give people more of a chance to go out and live their lives, not just work them away, which is why I think it's a good idea for there to be more things in place about paid time off and a raise in the minimum wage and many other things that we can do. Last thing, I think generally what happens is that it all gets torn down violently, then it's good for a bit, and then greed and power emerges through complex systems. You can kind of look at history and kind of see that, but you also see something different. So yes, through history, there's been you saw some democracy in Greece, and that idea was kind of developed and seeded there. And then the Romans kind of came in, and it became imperialistic again. And then the Roman Empire was taken over by even bigger imperialists, like the Holy Roman Empire, things like that. And then there was the Dark Ages, and then there was the Renaissance, and things got exponentially better. And then you see this trend as going through history as life expectancy gets better, technology gets better, form of communication, education, the number of people educated, all of these things do get better over a period of time, and they've been gradually getting better. And now that we're in an epoch where technology is ubiquitous with our lives, it's going to go much faster, and we're going to exponentially be able to rise out of these problems socially. Now, there's going to be some growing pains. We may have to have some sort of revolution, or there might be something like that happens. I don't know. I can't tell the future, but I can say that things can get better. They will get better as long as we keep fighting for the things that we believe in, because there's much more of an ability for us to unify now these days. So that's all I got to say about that, guys. I am going to go ahead and end stream because I told my kid that they could play video games a long time ago. And I don't want to screw them over on that night. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate the donos, and thank you very much for the $10 there for Dartshot and Effenheimer. It's much appreciated. And you guys have a great night. And like I said, I'm gonna try to stream 4 nights next week. If I'll definitely do 3, possibly 4. I got a lot of stuff to talk about, and do watch my YouTube channel, as I will be putting out all kinds of new videos as well. I just put up a new one about this study that was about how cannabis could possibly help with coronavirus. It's inconclusive, but it's an interesting study. There's a bunch of other videos on there. I do highly suggest you check it out. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night.